I got them in Japan. Oh no, these are Converse. These are Vibrato Cons.
Right.
Like, yeah. And I think they ended their relationship, which is unfortunate because they made great shoes. Yeah, send me a text or something. And I'll have your.
I think it's 9s.
It's awesome.
You think it's
9.5. Yeah, I love 9.5.
That's what
I became a wuss like a couple of years ago, and I just changed.
No, all that stuff is just bullshit. You know, if you tour, if you session, you know that the whole string gauge thing is just fucking full of shit.
Yeah.
We are live.
Okay, we're
About the
live.
skin in your hands.
We're live.
We're live.
There's an ad.
Wait, let me hide your phone
Skip
number
the
so that
ad.
no one
Ah,
can
there
see
we
it
go.
from your phone.
Oh, I remember now. I gotta tell people, we're doing this 360 today because we're here at Thomann Gear University, so you can see Rob Chapman sitting
Hello.
over here.
How you doing?
Oh, we got Dan
Hey Dan.
from that pedal shop.
How you doing,
I'm
mate?
good, man. I'm good. I'm still feeling outgunned by the hair gun that you've got going on.
Oh, dude. So we have.
We had a hair off last night,
We
and
did.
it looks like Dan beats me by a country mile. But you know,
So you guys, this is 360. So if you're watching on the computer, you can literally put your the mouse on the screen, and you can move the screen around, and then you can go around in a circle. It's Dan's over there on his house.
see now they know that, Pete. They're all just going to look at you the whole time.
No way, you're a very attractive gentleman. We're gonna want to see you guys. And is that Chapter
He's
there?
coming.
It is Chapter.
Trey's coming.
It's Trey from Gear God. See, this is what's fun about this, is everybody's just cycling through. Some people are going to join, hang out, and I can read questions. Oh, Dan, you look crazy like a ghost there.
Yeah. So that. Awesome.
So, welcome to Sunday Live, but with a whole new twist. We're hanging at Thomann Gear University 2019 and doing it in 360. Rob's actually playing through the P215. I had an idea to just plug it in with the studio monitor.
It sounds really
It's
cool.
great, isn't it?
Check out the Th10.
You sound great now.
It's got the low end of that little tiny Genelex as well.
I like those little jumps. I was like, oh, can I have that one? I went up to the studio department and I asked them, like,
Right.
yes.
Oh, you specifically chose the Genelex.
Well,
That's interesting.
I said whatever, but I'd like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want your guitar back? I feel like I'm hot.
No, this is awesome actually, because I'm gonna read questions. Do you guys have questions? Somebody says this is devil technology. This 360 stuff. Do you guys have any questions for Rob and Dan while I got them here? We got all kinds of folks online. What do we got? Well, we got about 108 people right out of the gate. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Metalhead Hippie says, how's the trip going? How are you guys enjoying it here?
Oh, it's great. The thing about being here is that it's hanging out with everyone else, and that's the stuff that we don't get to do.
Totally.
So yeah, it's great. Really
Yes.
great.
I mean, it's great doing stuff in our own studios and all that, right? But it's like fun to be here and hang.
There's so many times you can masturbate in a day. And to be honest,
for yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when I get to air, I have a break. Honestly, I'm enjoying this way more than I thought I would. That's a very honest answer.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a lot more hectic and not as relaxing and chilled. And it's been really nice to meet people who are going through similar life experiences to me.
Yeah.
And kind of, catharsize a little bit and then talk about music. And I've been talking about music a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Which has been nice.
Instead of just gear. Right?
Yeah, like, let's make a Metal Zone video. It's like, oh, kill me. So, no, I'm also loving this gear.
Yeah, this is fun having this.
This thing, man. It's amazing. Buy all the Pete Thorn stuff immediately. Because,
You sound great.
well, thank you, Sam.
be your
Great
ad.
too, sir. Do you do Kemper profiles?
Once in a while, I have a Kemper and I have a Helix that I love. I have an Axe-Fx that I use, and I use everything. I mean, if I can and there's time, I'll use it all for different things. But at the end of the day, I'm a die-hard tube amp guy too, so that's why we did this. But it's trying to bridge that gap. Like this is a tube amp for folks that maybe can't play loud,
Right.
but maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
You plug it into a cab, but then most of the time, if you got to use low volume or whatever, here's the solution. If you know, because you can reach out and turn the damn knob and just get more gain, or you don't have to page through a menu. So
And
that's
I
what
can't see from the front, but is it a 50 watt head?
It's 15 actually.
15?
Yeah, dual 6v6.
Even better.
It's pretty ballsy
cool,
trick, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although with the tube amp expander, it could be 100 watts.
It's true.
that's true. Could be. I wonder, a question for all of you from Robin says, what has been the best amp you ever played? That's a really interesting.
That's a really hard question
Favorite
to
amp?
answer. Oh my god. The best amp I ever played.
Horses
Okay.
for courses. Horses for courses. I've got a 61 AC30 that's very hard to beat.
Ooh,
If you want that sound,
61 AC30, that's
yeah, that's a very nice thing.
So for me, it is one of my signature amps, not because I'm trying to sell it, but because you know when you play an amp in to the point where it's just like it yields to you.
Yeah.
So I've got this one Victory RD1, and I record everything with it, and I just put it full volume because then it's a non-master.
Okay.
Full gain. There's just enough gain at full gain. It's not crazy,
Yeah.
and it just is the most responsive to a volume control at that point.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I love kind
Right.
of riding the volume to make it. It's just a great amp. It's a great amp.
Yeah, we filmed a couple of shows with that.
Did you?
It's-
Victory?
it's- yeah,
Oh, I
it's
didn't
killer.
know that. Thanks, man.
The tiny,
Yeah.
your little, it's wonderful.
I'll tell you all the secret sauce and the hidden Easter eggs after we've done this.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, a couple
yeah.
of little bits.
For you guys that are just tuning in, 360 video, so you can actually put your mouse on the screen and turn the picture around so you can see the
You can
other
put anything
folks
you want on the
talking.
screen, and it'll just
You can-
benefit the
exactly, it doesn't
experience
have to
greatly.
be, it'll benefit. But if you're on an iPad or a phone, you can just move it and you'll see that the screen's going to turn around. It's very cool. So 360 video, it's not just me sitting here, you can look around and see us all. Kevin figured that out. He says, laugh out loud, it works on my phone. Live from Germany in 360, says Quentin. Epic. Welcome back to Germany. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate that. So what else, guys? Any questions for Dan and Rob? Well, he wanted. Somebody's asking what you think of the guitar. That's Simon.
I really like it. Yeah, it's nice. You know what? It feels expensive. I like guitars that feel expensive.
Me too.
I mean, since I'm holding it. It's just really easy to play. The neck is lacquered, but it doesn't have that sticky lacquer. It's just kind of like a really, really highly polished Eclipse.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's smoother than raw wood, but not much.
It's almost entirely frictionless.
Yeah. I'm glad that you.
You
brought
can't
that
kind of feel it. It's like it doesn't exist. And I was just saying off camera that I love that he's got the traditional 4-plate, but then it's chamfered. So that it doesn't get in the way of your heels, so that if you want to do all the sort of, you don't feel compromised in the hand.
So another fun thing is that bridge that I didn't mention to you yet, but you can see there's lock screws in the strings.
yeah.
So it stays in tune like a Floyd. Really.
It's a locking. Is it Wilkinson?
It's Wilkinson.
I'm so putting these on my guitars from now on.
I knew you were going to say that, but it really works.
It really does work. I'm mildly surprised.
I know, it's pretty, because if you got a good, tusk nut and locking tuners, you got no friction. It's basically you got a Floyd Rose at that point.
Yeah.
So, somebody wants to know what you've got up and coming for Chapman Guitarists. Mentioning what's new, what's on the horizon.
Let me just speak to the boss and see what I can say. So at the NAMM show, it's our 10th anniversary.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty much roughly, thank you very much, 10 years of doing what we do.
That's awesome.
Chopping trees down and making them look better. So we've got some things being reissued
Okay.
at NAMM that harken back to the very initial stages of Chapman.
Okay.
And it's really exciting to be able to do that in a very expensive way and a more affordable way.
Sure.
And lots of new finishes. And yeah, I think what I've just said, if you know anything about Chapman guitars, they'll already know exactly what we're doing.
Right.
From those few meager words,
Yeah.
which often terrify
That's
me.
good clue. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
But
Are you still doing the voting thing?
yeah,
I love that.
I mean,
It's so cool.
thank you very much. It's really beneficial because what I think makes a great guitar is what I think is making a great guitar.
Have you seen this, Pete?
No, what's that?
So- When Rob's deciding on a new line or a new type of guitar,
Yeah.
there's he'll have some parameters, and he'll get people to vote on what sort of guitar they want. And
All of our guitars
wonderful.
are collaboratively designed.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's
I didn't
so
know you
cool.
did that. Yeah, that's
so
really cool.
The short story. Sorry, this sounds really nice. Oh, I wish I made it.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I got offered a signature guitar like 10 years ago,
Right.
and I thought, shit, I don't know what I want. I love every kind of guitar.
Right.
So I'll just go on YouTube and ask, 15 people, whatever,
Yeah.
at the time, what I should make. And they came up with a bunch of spec, and then we made it, and I sort of stumbled upon collaborative design.
Okay.
And now everything we make, unless it's a signature model, is collaboratively designed in a poll on our website, so that all the wood, the timbers, how many frets, what kind of paint, everything, neck carve sometimes.
Power to the people. Give
Yeah.
the people what they
So
want.
good.
Well, but also it means that I don't end up making guitars that I would just want, because then it would be 3-neck purple V's and all that kind of shit. It is a little bit scary because I don't know what I'm bringing to market.
Yeah,
I love it.
And I have to trust that people don't hack in, which they have done. Someone once voted like 400 and something times for this one guitar. For this guy in Paris, actually, we were like, God, should we just let it go through and he'll buy loads of them? Or, but that's the only time that ever happened.
Right.
But it's really fun owning a guitar company. It's great.
Yeah, man. What a dream.
It's
incredible.
It's pretty cool.
Somebody's asking, let's see, who's the nicest person you met for the first time at TGU? The interesting thing about this thing, I bet you guys will back me up on this, is everybody's so cool.
Yeah, they
And,
are.
I saw Paul Davids was the first fellow that I met that I hadn't met before. Dan and I have known each other for a while, and we've only just met. But Paul I hadn't met, and I met him on the train on the way to the plane at the airport the other day. I had Paul Davids, I love your channel, and instantly I feel like I'm buddies with the guy. He's just such a nice guy, and that's my experience with pretty much everybody here.
I mean, Pete Thorn's pretty cool. He's like a sort of slightly, chilled out version of a cross between Captain America and John Wayne. I'm really enjoying that.
I've never heard that before.
Well, I mean, from an Englishman's point of view,
I like it.
And I like your playing has this backed up confidence behind it.
Oh, thanks.
That this only comes from hours of playing on stage behind people that need you to be really good.
Oh, thanks.
So it's a nice thing to hear in somebody's playing.
Too kind.
And, well, no, it's true. So yeah, but everyone's nice. It's been really friendly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really good.
Apart from Trey. Oh my God.
Yeah, Trey's
Trey
difficult.
for Giggles.
Nightmare.
Where is
That guy.
You guys know Jay Leonard?
No.
Yeah, I think he's based in Singapore. Anyway, he is. Yeah, he's one of in the upper echelons of nice guys.
Yeah.
He's there. He's just beautiful guy, hilarious.
Well, I want to be friends with him.
Yeah.
I got some questions for you, Pete.
Yeah.
Put the laptop down.
Okay.
Here is a
All right,
guitar
hold on.
from Sir and Pete Thorn.
Yeah.
What is your favourite chord?
My favorite chord? Oh God, I got a few. I'm like a minor 9 kind of guy, or it's tough to go wrong. Or there's also, because I'm an Alex Lifeson guy. I use that one way too much. The 11.
I think Nickelback made that the wrong thing to do now, though, because they take out and move it, and then
You could still
look
do
at
it.
this photograph.
Yeah, right. I guess that's true. But, I like it. I'm a Lifeson guy, and I loved how he would do the like always leaving the top 2 strings open.
Yeah,
So much you can do
I
with
love that.
I just get all that kind of of stuff is what I kind of grew up on, hearing him do that. And so,
If you got an extended solo,
Yeah.
and you start kind of thinking, I've got another 30 seconds of licks that I know.
yeah.
What do you do? What do you survive on?
This is the coolest thing I saw in the last like 5 years. Anybody doing a solo, and it was I like it. We're not going to tell you who this is. It's going to be a mystery. It was Lindsey Buckingham, the last tour that he did with Fleetwood Mac, actually.
Yeah.
And I feel really fortunate that I saw the show. But I saw him play at Dodger Stadium, and he did this guitar solo where he started down low, playing something simple, built it up a little bit, moved it up a little bit up the fretboard, simple, 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 and he climbed up the fretboard over the next 4 or 5 minutes, it felt like, and he just had that Dodger Stadium like in trance in his playing, and he ended up on the highest note on the guitar, and that was the end of the tune, you know. And there was like housewives sitting behind me, and the woman was like, "Holy shit!" And she hit the and I'm like, if you can move just people like that with a guitar solo in 2019. So I tried to take that away, that thinking of that, or just that whole philosophy of like, play simple, start low, move it. And I remember hearing John Mayer talk about it too, like, if you go up here.
Oh yeah, I've seen that video too.
Where do you go?
It's totally true.
You know, if you're like, okay, if you've started your solo there, you gotta know where to go.
Yeah.
So it's like, you better, you know. And then leave space. You know, and then maybe leave a bar, you know, and then. Maybe, and then. Now, you know, like, just try and build it over the course of. You know, you have to think it's 16 bars, it's 8 bars, it's 32 bars, or it's extended, and I don't know when this is going to quit.
Yeah.
And take your time, because it's like no hurry. I think people feel like a hurry now to show off.
Yeah.
You know, all this. But Hendrix is like, he didn't give a shit. He just experimented.
That's a really good point. When I'm playing live, I never feel a sense of urgency, and I take my time, and I feel like I play 70% better. But when I'm recording a solo, I feel like I'm really aware of everything, and that kind I can't get that out of my head. I think I need to take more drugs and more alcohol or something, and then just kind of not care too much, you know.
That's it.
Or just hire you to play the solo, and then I'll be fine.
No, don't get me.
Rob, do you get red light fever?
Like if I'm in a studio for 2 weeks, first 3 or 4 days, I get a little bit kind of, that's got to be really good.
Yeah.
I can't produce something really bad because I'm Rob Chapman. People watch what I do now, and you know the last 3 things charted and do really well. If I do something that's shit, then I'm going to get ridiculed. So I get a little bit like that.
Right. Okay.
And then I stop caring.
Right.
When you get tired and bored of the studio, that's when I record the best.
Yeah.
When I'm like, oh god, is it time to get takeaway Chinese yet? And I phone my wife.
It's funny, I find myself in the studio with like other people watching. I find myself, I'll be more like first, second, third take, fourth take, because it's like that pressure and you're focused.
Yep.
If I'm in my studio, I'll do 60 takes. Because you can. Yeah. And then I'm like, sometimes I get mad at myself, and especially like if I'm making a video and it's funny because it's on camera, and then I'll see it later when I'm editing or something, and I'll be like, come on, get your shit together. Like I'll like be yelling at myself, you know, it's like, what, focus, you know, like pay attention, like, you know, because you can zone out, but you don't do that in the studio when there's like a guy sitting there engineering and the singer's behind you or whoever hired you, you know. So it's interesting. So I actively try and pay a little more attention these days to it, because I don't think it's what we all do with the luxury of having studios and being able to spend time on your own. I think it can actually be like, maybe if we do too much of that, maybe it's negative. Maybe it's a detriment to you, because it throws you off your game, and then you get in the studio and you forgot what it was like to be like on the ball.
Yeah.
That was the only way you used to record.
Yeah, of course.
Like there was no home studios.
Yep.
Or, you know.
And you get in, you're recording with the band, with the orchestra, everyone's recording at once. It's like you've got to be on the game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
There's a great book from Tommy Tedesco about his session career.
Oh yeah.
And you know, the stories are fascinating. But yeah, that's really interesting, because I think a lot of people would naturally assume the more time you spend recording in the studio, you just get used to that recording, which is sort of true. But then there is no pressure. he yells at me a little bit, but apart from that,
Well, you need it.
By the way, we've been joined by Nick.
Hello, we're live, are we?
We're totally
We're
live
live
in
360.
360.
How wonderful.
So people can put anything on the screen and move it around,
Awesome.
and then they can just look at you.
Yeah.
Can I just a piece of observation? I'm really enjoying this. I love that it says my name,
Yeah.
and then above it says, "Hello, my name is." I think that's really nice because they might not have known that was my name, or they might have. And I like that it greets you too. Hello.
It's Paul.
hey, buzz.
What's up? Paul Davids.
How you guys doing?
You want to join?
Good.
I'm getting a coffee.
Oh, totally
Don't mind me, but
Paul,
Get a coffee.
I love to
is there any chance I could get black coffee?
Yeah.
I'm getting black coffee, yeah. There is a lot of chance I
Could
can.
you, while you're doing that,
Yeah.
could we play black coffee while you get black coffee?
Oh, do it.
Paul Davids is getting Rob Chapman a coffee. And this is a fantastic gathering of YouTube folks joining us.
This is nice.
Yeah. Musicians and
I can't remember it. Oh,
Café Schwartz.
that was really quick. I couldn't remember black coffee before you got the black coffee.
he's very efficient. Paul, you're welcome to. You want to sit here? You want to
Oh my God, it's Mary Spender.
And Mary Spender.
The black coffee riff summons the Spender.
This is
Oh, is
awesome.
that coffee?
What kind of coffee?
White coffee, please.
Mary, have you ever
Ice
tried
and
Pete
cafe.
Thorn's signature sugar?
Cafe creme.
I haven't played
Yeah.
it, but I have it.
I have a
Do you
decaf
wanna-
soy flat white with
do you
just
wanna
a
try
hazelnut.
Do you need
No, I'm good, thank
Do you
you.
need money?
No.
Yes, I do.
Ted is in
Yeah.
the top chat, and he
Are
had the
we-
question about
are we
favorite pickup
live?
setups. What's
Yeah,
your
we are
favorite
live,
pickup
yeah.
setup?
Whose handbag is this? Is this yours, Rob?
Yeah, sorry.
It totally is yours.
Stop
Isn't it?
by.
So we're joined by
You know
Mary
what?
Spender.
If it would, was
God.
mine.
What does this even look like?
What,
Mary
like,
can check out my
No, this whole
guitar.
360 thing.
I do have a question
I don't-
No.
about the 60 takes.
Oh yeah,
if you put it back one more click on the pickup selector, it'll be
yeah. The
solid.
lights create all the noise.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
okay.
Paul
Lights
Davids,
happy.
Mary Spender joining us, and Mick's going to ask me a question about.
If you do 60 takes,
Yeah.
how often do you end up taking one of the first three?
Always
Or
number
the
one.
last three?
You know what I find, man, is that I got to get away from it. If I'm doing a ton, I got to get away from it for a minute because I'm too inside it, and I always come back and listen and go, "There's nothing wrong with that." Like if I'm feeling like I don't know, and then I'm listening to it and I'm obsessing, I go have lunch, and I'll come back and listen and go, "It's fine, I'm done." Like you like the little thing, like I'm late on the third note of the second bar or something. You don't even hear it anymore once you
becomes
get away.
a thing.
It becomes a thing, and it's
That's-
fine.
yeah.
It's alright, we got Logic, chop that up and shift it, no one fucking knows. Whatever.
Pitch fix it, it'll be fine.
I did 100 and something takes of.
Steve's looking for you. Samurai.
That says a lot about you.
I'm
Well,
gonna
how
be a
many
different
you did?
sound, Mary. You can turn up the
Isn't
volume if
she
you want. There you go.
wonderful?
So we're playing through the PT15 through a little Genelec studio monitor right now, just direct. And having fun.
I was getting contact.
You know what?
That's great, Mary.
Someone
But that
else
wasn't
with
just
nice,
because of me playing it badly, because I hadn't quite learnt it when I
someone
started
else
playing
with
it.
nice finger tone. It always sounds like Mary Spender.
That's true, yeah, it's in
Yeah.
your right hand, right? Like
Yeah.
your time.
This is such a beautiful
This is a special day when Paul Davies brings you a cup of coffee. It's not
By the way, anyone
So you guys, the
wondering?
360 mode means that you can look around the whole, if people are just tuning in, you can grab on the screen, like if you're using a computer, and you can just move with your mouse. and
You
move
can look
all
at other
the way
people
around.
than Dan,
So
okay?
give it a
Just
try.
to let you know, alright?
can.
By the way, in case anyone's wondering, the secret setup source for Pete Thorn is 9.5 gauge strings. Which brand?
Yeah, so I've been using. You're gonna make me give it away now because I don't know if I can. But I've been using. It's the standards D'Addario that have made 9.5 to 44. But I don't know if I can bring it up or not because I'm an Ernie Ball. I'm just gonna say I'm an Ernie Ball guy.
Right. Well, so am I. I'm an Ernie Ball guy all the time as well.
Yeah.
I'm
So
very nervous about this coffee.
I'll leave it there because I don't know if they've actually formally done that or not yet.
Oh,
I'm
right.
an Ernie Ball guy. And I like 9.5.
Did you sign that?
But I don't want to get in trouble with my friends at Ernie Ball.
You won't get in trouble. You know what? If I know anything about Sterling Ball, he is a solid guy with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
And and he's really forgiving.
Yeah.
If you would,
If I give away
insult
like a
his
new-
family name by using any other brand, he would totally.
Well, I don't use another brand.
That's
the
good,
thing.
that's good.
I like Ernie Balls and I like a string that they don't technically have.
Oh,
I
okay.
can see where this is going.
Have you ever asked Sterling about barbecue?
I know he's a barbecue guy because Sir's now vegetarian, and he used to do like brisket. Man, his brisket was unbelievable. Like 12 hours, outside smoking and all that. And Sterling and him are good buddies, and they
Yeah.
talk barbecue stuff.
He is a barbecue champion. He's like famous for barbecue in America. People recognize him because of his meat. Sometimes more than his
how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's,
what we
Recognize
misinterpreted.
me for.
Right, your meat. Right. Okay.
This is fun.
Wait, let me pose for a photograph.
This is fun. Somebody's asking how much a PT-15 is. I'll just say it's $26.99 in the States. I don't know what that equates to in Europe, but
Questions coming in, Pete?
yeah, I'm going to ask a few for sure. You guys go ahead and ask away questions for anybody sitting here, please. And by the way, Bam Mozzie says, I love Mary's playing and her voice is incredible.
Why, thank you.
So, yeah.
Why, thank you.
Yeah.
It's such a shame that she's just a horrible person.
I know.
Only she was pleasant to
I
be
know.
around.
Hashtag diva.
There's a lot of comments, but no questions particularly.
Yes, your fizzy water is coming, Mary.
Oh, some people want to know when we're going to do, and of course you should do it too, when we're going to do that pedal show.
Yeah, of course. Well,
Like everybody.
we recorded yesterday
Mary.
with you with the Sir, and that'll be on the show.
Look how well behaved I was. I was like,
So annoying.
My OCD is sparking. Can you make the
Paul
buzzer?
David just made Mary quit playing.
Well,
I would
It's
do the
all right.
same.
It's- I'm
I
like,
didn't
Breathe
know
in.
whether I was meant to be playing.
breathe out.
It's okay. I
You need
was
to
totally
carry some lace agate so that it resonates around the throat
Mary.
chakra.
I mean, I like this
It
guitar. So
takes
this is
away-
my guitar now.
Takes away
Did you just
the,
give this
the
to me on the
anxiety
live stream?
of
You're
the
so kind.
360.
oh, nice.
This is
Makes
my
everything-
guitar now.
Makes everything good.
I have my own signature.
It's cool, but it's an open invitation to anyone.
Okay, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the UK in the fall, I think, so I'd love to do that.
You
pedal
do
show.
DTP.
Well, Rob comes up to us last night, accosted us while we were having our lovely barbecue meal.
Wait, Mick and Dan begged me categorically begged me to be on their show. My arm is still bruised from the twisting it received,
Yeah.
and I relented, fearing, frankly, for my family's safety. And I will drive to Frome,
Awesome.
although it should be pronounced Frome, and shoot a video.
Do it.
Wonderful.
We should say that we did shoot video with Pete yesterday with the PT-15
Yeah.
IR upstairs, and that'll go out on that pedal show over the next 10 days.
We're gonna
Yeah,
shoot
good to
with as
hear.
many people. One of the great things about being here is that we get to hang out. We'll shoot as much as we can
Yeah,
with with everyone while we're here.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Mary's up the road.
I know, and I still haven't done it yet.
Is that a euphemism?
Well, no, I moved, didn't I?
You did? Oh, that's right.
I moved a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
However, I still crop up. Still pop round.
Still pop round.
Let's see, Cat's In Music has a question for that pedal show, which is, Cat's In Music says, I'm from the 80s and used to racks. As a pedal guy, what do you think of multi-effects like the Helix? Like, how do they compare to rack stuff? Is it...
Oh, how do they compare to rack stuff?
well, the guy says he's from the 80s.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, he's like, what do you think of the, like, multi-effects
I
now?
think okay, so in the 80s, if you were rocking an 88 preamp with an SPX 90,
BB Sonic Maximizer.
yeah, and that was going into a dual monoblock power amplifier,
Yeah.
that had a sound.
Yeah.
If you have the TC delay, the
2290.
2290,
2290.
I think there's a lot of rack gear from that era had
It's
a
been
real
simulated.
sound to it.
Yeah, as well in pedals now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been simulated, and that's great. But
Dan and Mick, I've got a question for you.
Hang on, I need to answer the question, which is I think done right, because a great rack system is always going to be analog drive-through. It's always going to be
yeah, good.
effect on top of the core preamp sound.
Yeah.
So you get no latency, no 100% digital conversion. So I think that if you look at how Landau and that era of guys did the rack thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the proper impedances, get it right. I think that eclipses modern DM
Because of
by
the wet
some-
dry component.
Yeah, by some margin, because you don't get the latency.
Yeah, Dan has a product for that can help.
And of course,
With
they
the,
played much
wet-
louder then too.
Sorry.
They all played much louder then too, which
Right.
was another big part of it, I think.
Yeah. Good point.
But does it matter if you got bad hand tone?
Oh man, that's the killer question, isn't it?
Now, one thing about bad hand tone, if you've got a great amp, that shows up. You know, the detail, and what I find happens naturally, because I've got long, skinny fingers, I don't have great hand tone, but what I find is if I've got clarity and headroom in the amplifier, I will subconsciously, I'll move things around until it sounds better. But the more processed that my sound is, the less I do that. I did a vlog recently on my practice setup, and I've got my Yamaha Th10 thing, and it sounds fantastic. But then I've got my little, it's a Big Trees single-ended 7-watt amplifier, and I find myself making micro adjustments with that because I can hear things so clearly.
Yeah.
And I find that good tone it's a partnership between obviously how you're playing and how the gear reacts.
Right.
But because there is that clarity and that detail, you do end up adapting to it and finding the notes that work that sound great.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that's what I need more practice in, adapting to louder setups, because I play so
Yeah.
quietly.
Playing loud,
And then
man.
Playing,
Playing loud's an art
playing around
form.
with some of your gear, and you just cranked me up a bit, and I was just suddenly like, I felt very, very vulnerable. But
Yeah.
just
But you were
having to
gone, you were
promise-
lost.
Yeah.
You'd stop listening and you were just playing.
Yeah.
And it was just
Yeah.
brain.
But it's what I
things
did
that
with
was just coming
with
out.
the Plexi video in GitCon
Oh yeah.
way
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I originally did play at 10,
Where we turned the
and
amp
then
on
when we
10.
were jamming a little bit, and then so it looked like I was the only one that turned it down.
Well, you did it on the guitar, which is a great point to make. You right? You turned the guitar down, right?
Yeah, possibly.
I
Yeah.
think you did it on the volume on the guitar,
Yeah,
which
I
is
think
how.
so.
The funny thing about that video was, which was really supposed to be kind of tongue-in-cheek and just ridiculous and fun.
Yeah, but it did
and I'm
so
so
well.
glad you guys helped me out with
It was
that
awesome.
video.
It was so much
Wonderful.
fun.
It's really fun, but the thing that you did, Mary, that almost, I don't think maybe anybody else did, was roll the volume down on the guitar, which is what everybody did when they used a loud plexi amp. They used the volume on the guitar to vary it, and then you got all this horsepower in reserve, which you were just doing that as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Rob, you were manipulating the controls and the pickups.
I'm a
on it.
giant hairy manipulator.
I love it. We got some top chat people.
I had an observation about hand tone because it's
Oh, yeah.
very, very like people are like.
I've never even heard of it as referred to.
Let me give you my physics example.
Okay.
From my, I've been playing guitar. I'm old now.
I mean, yeah.
Best hand tone I ever heard was Eric Clapton when I interviewed him for an hour, literally a few months ago. And he hadn't played for a while because he'd been ill. He sat down. He went, "All right, no, don't worry about pick." And then he was a little bit ropey, and then he was unbelievable.
Wow.
And what I noticed was that it suddenly struck me in that moment, the people I've observed to have what I perceive as great tone generally hardly hold the neck at all. And I think what's happening is they're allowing that wooden bell to just ring. Whereas people that tend to grab it really hard, it seems to kill a lot of the natural overtones and harmonic structures within it that would occur, and they seem to
Very
die.
interesting.
That
You look at
is.
people like Lee Anderton, his vibrato and his tone, I think is really good. And he's just like that. He's hardly.
Yeah, he
That's
does.
the Eric
That's
Clapton
his-
vibrato.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
exactly what I was
Yeah.
saying.
Well,
But
Pete Thorn
Eric,
does the same when he does a vibrato.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
removes his
exactly,
thumb from
because
the
he was
neck.
an Eric Clapton fan. But what Eric did was he also, I don't think he knows he's doing it, but he was even varying the pressure off when he was doing vibrato.
Yeah.
So he was playing, he was a bit harder. Then when he would relax a little bit, and he'd see his fingers go from white to like slightly pink.
That's really
What he's
interesting.
doing is like feeding up.
Because I'm
It's
pretty
almost-
fascinated with that technique.
Yeah.
I really am. Because I can't really do that. I've
That's the
worked on it.
classical violinist technique. Like if you're doing a vibrato,
Well, side to side doesn't do anything on a steel string because it's a stretching
It
technique.
kind of does.
but it kind of does.
If you
Oh,
put,
it does.
If you put your fingers.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now,
And it actually makes the pitch dive.
yeah.
Only if Mary Spender does it.
Is it any other
Yeah.
Okay, hold on,
So
let me-
Mary, do the same
what I
thing.
mean is,
But
it
Let's
only
do a
does
vibrato.
if.
Let's do
Yeah,
a vibrato
yeah.
comparison.
So you can do that.
Everyone's got to
Okay.
play the same note.
Yeah.
What I was
Okay,
going to
let's
say
do
is,
this. I
So
like
it's
that.
definitely.
on 9.5 gauge, yes, but if you're playing 11 to 58,
I play 11s.
not a lot's going to
No,
happen.
no, that's not true because I play 11s. I play 11s.
Mary is the exception to every rule.
But I play viola, so the the sort of vibrato thing
Yeah.
that is that way. There's definitely a vibrato there. It's not just.
But what you're getting is the
Wait,
string
wait.
is being pushed in.
I think I know what's happening because Rob's vibrato is like, and your vibrato is like, there's a big.
It's a more. It's the
Yours is very wide.
Yeah.
It's
That's
got
not bad. I mean, you're probably looking for a very wide vibrato.
Yes.
So you're not happy with just a few cents down.
Well, no, but,
Well, sense down, right?
but
I gotta ask a couple things before
Yeah,
we.
yeah.
I just gotta moderate for a second because there's a few folks.
Also, I've got to go in a minute.
And then I love your idea about doing a vibrato comparison.
Let's do that.
So let's do that. But Metalhead Hippie says, if any of you met up, oh sorry, it's worded funny. An up and coming young female guitarist, Philippa Q. Has
Yes.
you
Yes,
seen
she's
her?
here.
She's here.
She's here.
She's here.
She's
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
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 And she's an amazing young lady and very talented for her age. Thanks, Metalhead Hippie.
she wanted to do the singing thing recently. No?
Cat
She does sing.
Right.
Uh,
Cat Zen Music says, well, at Thomann, can you all please record the same song lick with the same gear so we can experience the finger sound? Well, we're going to kind of do that right now with finger vibrato. So we're going to pass the guitar around.
Somebody is setting that up tomorrow down in the guitar department where it's not quite that, but they're going to have the same guitar, the same amp, the same rig, and everyone's going to go and play and set up for the thing that they like the most.
That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
I like
so
that.
you can just tweak a sound
Oh,
in.
I also need. Oh, I did you.
Oh, I need all your
I need
help
you
as
to
well.
play your favorite chord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah, no worries.
I need
and-
you to all riff a solo over one of my songs.
Cool.
Oh, we're definitely going to do that.
I need you all to just.
Clever.
Clifford Mold says, for Dan, just got Tin Spirits albums and they sound great. Sounds a lot
Oh,
like you.
bless you.
Oh,
Thank
sweet.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's do
Little
the
man
vibrato
down the
thing.
drain.
You guys,
There
we're
we
going to
go.
pass the guitar around for a minute.
Oh,
and
God.
We're going to talk vibrato first.
Pick a note, pick a note
So-
somewhere.
We've seen Mary's got this great kind of classical almost vibrato, back and forth vibrato, I think.
It's
Yeah,
it's
some
not
moments.
Pete. It's not vibrato. Okay.
What is it?
Vibrato.
Vibrato.
Yeah. It's
you
like
heard vibrato?
it's not a taco. It's a taco. Let's just get this straight. All right.
Sorry? Say
I'll be
again.
alive in about 10 seconds.
What it is as soon as I play, they needed to turn it off because they couldn't handle
The internet
the pure vibrato that was. I'll do that section again, and then I'll.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, the stream got interrupted for a second.
Hello, I'm Rob Chapman, and let me introduce you to Pete Thorn. And, we're talking about vibrato. Mary is throwing down a challenge, like a gauntlet, to see if we can do vibrato any better than.
I can already hear it.
I think we're
And,
back.
Different. So I have two kinds of vibrato. I've got the opening a door, and I've got the feed the pony.
And now try
So-
it side to side.
Sorry, and somebody's saying they didn't even see Rob sitting here. For those just joining in, we're in 360 right now, so you can grab the screen with your mouse if you're like on a computer and move it around, or if you're on an iPad or a phone, you can just rotate the phone and you'll see everybody sitting here. And if you're looking at me, turn it around because these guys are much more attractive than
I
me.
could use this violin up.
Mary's over there, Rob's over here.
Two kinds of vibrato. I've got the opening the door handle and the feed the pony. So here's the opening the door handle. Obviously depending on tempo. And then the feeding the pony. Gives you a more...
Thumb off. So are you taking your thumb off when you're doing
yeah.
it? Cool. That's
On
the
the
one that I
hanging by
just...
skin.
Yeah.
And then the merry vibrato that doesn't work is...
Not smiling, didn't even flinch.
Well, I'll tell you what happens
That is
from a
vibrato.
physics point of view. Here you're on a fret, so the string is being supported.
That's
Here
still vibrato.
you are not, so the string is being suppressed in. So you get this tiny, minute microtonal bend.
There's a
that makes no
semitone
effect at
there.
all.
There's a semitone in there.
There's a
It's
semitone
more
there
like a-
if you've got 9.5 gauge strings.
Yeah, yeah.
It's more like a vocal vibrato. Like you don't want to go crazy with it. You just want this tiny. Yeah. I mean, some people enjoy doing it.
Dio just walked in, didn't he?
What I wish I could do is what Eric does is bend and still
just did it.
do that. Wait, yeah, but
Yeah, you just did it. So you can do it.
Well, at this point, I'm afraid I have to leave the live thing because I don't want Pete Thorn to show me up. So I'm out of here.
You gotta go?
I've got to go. I'm sorry, man.
That was so much fun.
Can we do like an embrace like we know each
Absolutely.
other for a long time?
Thank you, man.
I love you, man.
I appreciate you being here.
We'll
And, that was
hang
a
if
lot
you
of
see barbecue products at some point as long as they're vegetarian.
fun. I like it.
Cheers. Love you all.
All right,
See you later.
See you. See you guys in front.
See you, mate.
Are you
off?
No, I've just got to film at some point.
Oh, okay. Alright.
I just got scared by that.
I'm doing this.
See that, Holland?
See you later, dude.
Love you, man.
Yeah, you see them.
Awesome lessons. I actually learned shit
You're
from
doing
each other
that
as well.
You actually learned something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never taking my thumb off, and I want to know how to
If
do
you ever
that.
need
But
any tips,
Yeah,
Ryan.
that's what I do. By the way, Pete, your video on travel boosters,
Yeah.
I went out and I bought travel boosters. So
Thanks,
you
Rob.
should get some money for that. See you later, guys.
See you,
man.
mate.
Take care. That's my main vibrato. Just my thumb's on the neck. That's that thing. When I try, that's the thumb off.
Wow, hear the difference in the tone when you did that.
It's so different. But I don't feel confident doing it.
Sure.
I'd love to.
It's mad when you think.
yeah,
Sorry, it's totally mad when you think about it, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Ah, Adam Neely's joined the party.
So I was going to show us his vibrato.
Am
Anyone's
I
every vibrato
coming
in the
across as
world.
stupid saying that I think there is vibrato?
There absolutely is, and I'll show you why in a minute.
Okay.
So my vibrato,
Yeah.
I always start later than
Yeah.
because I love like people perceive the note, okay, and then you can go crazy. It
Oh.
really doesn't matter. So
That's
and you have this like, or you,
I love that
yeah,
too.
yeah,
but
yeah.
your guitar is too tight. I don't know. Worse.
That's great.
Your action is so low that when you do it,
Yeah.
the strings hit like the frets.
So just
Where they are. Yeah, but
I do the bar a lot though too. So
Yeah,
that's-
yeah. Oh,
you've got the bar.
Once again, I grew up with Alex Lifeson a lot.
Yeah,
He was always
right.
shaking chords.
in and out of chords as well. Into
Exactly. Yeah.
mine are all locked, so I never use it. But cool, yeah, interesting.
I play a telly now. Like I had it was a Strat whammy bar guy forever,
Yeah.
and then I realised I had no vibrato when I went to a telly because I was on this all the time.
Oh, interesting.
So
you
I
had to
sort of
learn
came
your-
late to vibrato.
Ah.
But so the vibrato that Mary's talking about. So when we play a string,
If you go to another, the light's so noisy with single coil. Sorry. Yeah.
because of that style of vibrato, the note can only go up.
Yeah.
Right. There's only increasing tension. But what Mary's talking about, if you
Yeah, it goes down.
Yeah, it goes down.
And that's the classical.
Classical, yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
So and if you're having trouble with one finger, if you actually put some fingers behind that,
Right.
you can actually
Yeah,
get.
it's cool sound.
Really cool sound. It's very subtle and it's very beautiful. You know.
I also
Its own
think
thing.
that a lot of great guitar players do it naturally and fix their own intonation doing that.
Uh-huh. Oh
So,
yeah.
Especially if you're down at the bottom of the neck, you know, and you play a chord.
It's like about vibrato. Everyone is looking for their picks. Like, oh, I need a pick for that one string.
Yeah. It's because of the strike of the string, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But that thing,
Yeah.
you know, if you play a D chord and you play. Right. So all those, everyone worrying about their perfect intonation on their guitar and like setting it up to the nth degree.
Change five fingers.
It's like, well, you can do just as much.
Jeff Beck, man. I mean, he just
Yeah,
never
yeah.
tunes. He doesn't tune the whole gig. I saw him at Hollywood Bowl. He didn't. He played the same guitar and he never tuned, and he's on the bar the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what Frusciante said once? Like, oh man, your guitar's out of tune. Oh, I'll bend it in.
Yeah.
Just,
I've been astounded watching Guthrie play, and he'll finish a tune, and obviously it's Guthrie, so you're like.
yeah, you're already on the floor.
And then he'll, finish the tune and go, okay, that was a great tune. And his guitar will be, he'll just do something like, and you can hear that his guitar is so far out of tune, it's untrue, but you would never have perceived it
In the song.
because he's just microtonal everything.
That's so cool.
And to relate that to vibrato, I think that's where vibrato is interesting, because there are players who kind of use it to...
Well, sometimes it's too much, and it's again in the classical world. Like they're trained to have it and know how to do it, but not use it too much.
The only guitar
You
lessons...
can't use it to save you.
The only guitar lessons I've ever had, I went to a guy in my hometown when I was young, and I'd got same as I am now, like into these boxes of playing and he said, right, no vibrato, none. You're not allowed to play vibrato during these lessons, and I could not do it.
Yeah, you start shaking.
Because he gets in there and he's like, oh, play me something and let me see where you are, and you're kind of like,
Yeah,
he's like, no, stop.
I remember in the 90s when guitar kind of solos fell out of fashion, and producers would be like, "No vibrato," like that became a thing. No, because they didn't want it to sound like a guitar. They wanted it to. Can you put like something like a rotary speaker effect on that or something? They wanted you to just play a melody.
Yeah.
You know, no vibrato. Then it started sounding too much like blues. They were scared of like solos in the 90s,
Wow.
and that was it. It was very difficult to like.
Is that back nowadays in pop music?
Is it back?
I don't hear any solos in pop music.
No, I think
See you on the live stream.
it's changed. I think solos are a little more prominent. Now, what were you going to say about vibrato? Though?
Well, no, I was curious of like the classical thing because
But I'm not talking about classical guitar, only
classical
viola.
guitar, from what I understand, like they
Yeah,
teach
they also do that.
the side to side,
On the nylon string.
which is interesting because it has such a different flavor. But
Yeah, because if you go
you
up-
can do it on electric. It's just nobody ends up doing it that way.
Because
If
there's
you do
so
it-
much
I
slinky that you
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
It comes from the so live vibrato comes directly from Albert King by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
right.
Because he was the guy I was obsessed with. So, Stevie Ray would always give it that huge,
Right.
and if I do it on a guitar with strings like this, I'm literally, even on the B string, pulling it off the top of the neck.
Right, that's the other thing with heavy strings. You can it slows you down,
Yeah.
and the vibrato gets. If you're into heavy vibrato, like heavy
Ah, so
strings,
I have heavy strings.
That's-
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a gentle vibrato.
But I love that thing that we were talking about earlier when you do it at the top of a note,
Do you guys think about the speed of the vibrato?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so
Yeah.
Kossoff, was it Clapton that was fascinated by Kossoff's vibrato, or the other way around, I can't remember which way, or Peter Green. So Paul Kossoff comes along and he had quite this quick, I can't even do it.
It's a BB King thing as well.
Super
Yeah.
quick. I
I,
can't. I don't like it. I like the Paul Gilbert.
the lungy, but I hate big vibrato. Well, I hate it. I mean, it's not my thing. The stuff I play is not suited for wide vibrato.
Yeah.
Because in jazz big band they teach that you should have the vibrato match the tempo of the song every single time.
He just saying, yeah.
interesting.
Which is like, I just thought it was kind of interesting. I mean,
Do you think also on if
I'm not a guitar player, but
Yes,
On-
look, you can.
And I was going to ask you on bass.
Yeah.
Doug Pinnick came by my studio and I got to do a video with him from King's X.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating because his style, I'd never thought about it on bass. He goes, yeah, most guys play like this, like very straight, and they don't vibrato. But he goes, I'm always like, he's kind of gnarly and bending, and it sounds like King's X all of a sudden. It's like, oh my god, that it is part of his style.
it's just harder to do because the strings are so much thicker and it's harder to like really make like milk a note. If I'm milking a note on bass, I'm probably doing the side to side, honestly, just because that's something that I like. Which doesn't sound right at all on guitar. I mean, I like bass. There's all sorts of other all the little inflections and stuff that I guess I don't know. It's hard to really like break it down because I've never really done it. But like all of the like little slides and hammer-ons that would be related to the vibrato on guitar. I
It's
guess.
every one of
Different.
those micro inflections
Yeah.
that makes this person sound
Sound like-
different from this
Yeah,
person,
yeah, I love
even
that.
though we're all playing exactly
And
the
all the
same notes.
influences, like I've never even thought of who inspired you to play that style of vibrato.
So,
That's
how's
crazy.
your vibrato and bending? So you go around like bend and vibrato?
Yeah,
because that's
okay.
very interesting.
So
No, guitar.
when I was teach that, if I was teaching, I'd say play this now get to the point you can bend up in tune and hold it, right? And then now try and shake it, and everybody ends up going and getting that sound out, right? So to get to getting it up there and then being able to. Hitting the pitch and then around the, and then holding it.
And also you can play around it going down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if you bend with a bend, you can
Go down.
go down instead of up.
Pre-bends,
Yeah.
lovely.
And
Yeah.
going down with vibrato is always better, I think.
Yeah. I use the bar a lot for that.
If I
I'm
would
always
have
doing
one,
that stuff.
I would do it all the time.
And then if you do both, you're Jeff Beck all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that's he's got I think a major or minor third on the G that he can pull up, so he's constantly, he's got so much up bend on that.
Do you know Michael Lee Firkins?
Oh, he's amazing.
His first solo album, when he was using Yamaha guitars, and his
Sounds like
technique,
slime.
it does.
Yeah.
With
It's
a bar. Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, he's really incredible. So Paul, yeah, show us how you do the bending. And
I think it's very different with the.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
What's your main guitar?
Strat or Teddy
Okay.
or Les Paul, by the way. Nowadays, I'm all over the place. It's weird. I love the Les Paul all of a sudden. I used to like, oh man, it's so loud, but now I'm like, oh, it's when you play one note and it's there. Like, it's just one note is enough. And then you're like, oh, it's so fat. But
You could walk away and you'd still be hearing it.
yeah, so
Right. Do you want to have a bite
thin
to eat?
strings,
Bite
and
to eat.
it's so different.
That's enough for that one.
Ooh, bit of Gilmore there.
It is very different with the bridge
With the
because
tremolo.
because you need to
harder.
compensate.
You feel it giving.
You need to listen all of a sudden. Like,
Oh, no,
It's so true.
not that.
oh, it's
Randy Wilcox is in the top chat.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
And yeah, he says hi to you actually specifically, and he says say hi to Mick. And he was mentioning Steve Vai's vibrato,
Yeah.
and he says he combines up and down with classical side to side by moving in a circular motion.
Yes.
And
Oh,
using
circular.
some-
Oh,
Yeah, he does. Interesting.
you see him do that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of yeah. Pretty neat.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Try it. Bending with
it's interesting. So nobody so far has done anything with the pinky, and I just remember like when I was studying upright bass, spent a lot of time working on getting vibrato with the pinky because it's so like impossible
Wow.
to do.
Yeah, because it's there.
And
Yeah.
But will you have
Wow.
your fingers
Same with-
behind the note with the pinky? Or just,
yeah. So everything is down. It's not like you're because that would be really hard to do.
Yeah,
on
yeah.
upright and everything. But
I
I
only
just
use my
yeah.
pinky for chords I can't play.
Me too. That's what it. Occasionally, people make fun of me because it's like he never uses his pinky. I'm one of those guys, but I do occasionally. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
weird. It's just, it's,
I mean,
it's
just,
definitely
just
like
playing the guitar though, it feels so much better to
Yeah.
do everything with the third finger, like
Yeah.
just idiomatic and
Just a lot stronger as well.
just how it works.
Yeah.
You could throw it left, but I mean,
Randy just discovered. Sorry, Dan.
oh, that's nice.
Gilmore. He's at number one. He's at.
Ah, man.
Wow. He's just.
Stop it. Yeah.
Randy just discovered the 360. I just wanted to mention if anybody hasn't figured that out yet, we're in 360, so we got everybody sitting around here. We got a back pedal showing Paul Davids and Mary Spender and Adam Neely, and we're having fun. Just hanging out chatting. So move the screen around with your mouse, or if you're on a tablet or a phone, you can just move it around and it'll be. There's Spectre.
I'll be right back.
So we're having a good
What are
time.
we doing? So we're bending at the top of a note, aren't we?
Bending at the top of the note, yeah.
I don't know if I can do this.
Holding the
Yeah.
bending up and then vibrato, I guess.
So we go. God, it's difficult with the.
It is so difficult.
With the bridge.
It's different, yeah.
And also the thin strings. Is it 9?
9.5.
9.5?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I think-
it feels different than
If-
10.
I reckon if you're looking to use it, if you're looking for ideas when you're ties in what we were talking about earlier about building something melodic to play and building it in intensity and then pitch as you go up the neck to keep it interesting. I like that thing that Jeff Beck will do, which he'll just play the note straight, and then he'll go.
But he doesn't really finger vibrato that much.
No. So he plays it with the bar.
Yeah.
But
It's
that-
really crazy.
It's the same note, but it's just bent up a fret below or above. And
I see what you mean.
Oh yeah.
And if you,
Still talking about vibrato.
That's a tasty bit of Michael.
but I think
That's lovely.
what you were saying earlier about you play that and it's not just the guitar players in the audience who are going, wow, that was a nice bit of playing. It's that is conversation at that point.
Yeah.
Like a singer notes.
It feels like it to me, and for everyone who's out there struggling with high gain sounds, trying to be heard,
Yeah.
doing this and not being heard, just do that for 4 bars.
Just take a minute. Yeah.
Exactly.
And everyone's
So
like,
it's cool because
oh.
there's a lot of things being said about phrasing, but actually, phrasing could also be described like you're playing exactly the same notes, but more like bending some to the pitch you want to hear, or just sliding into the notes.
Articulation, like
Yeah.
how you play the notes.
Yeah.
Landau is just king of that for me.
Mike Landau's good. He communicates on the guitar like nobody I've ever. I mean, even I love Jeff Beck, but Mike's. I can't even believe I'm saying this because it feels blasphemous.
I know what you're going to say, and I agree with you.
It's just his vocabulary is I know you can't compare because Jeff Beck is unbelievable, but Mike's vocabulary, like the way he'll change a sound with a pedal, his pick position, the pickups, play a phrase and then mix it up and then do something different, and it's seamless, and you don't hear the technique ever. It's just like he's just making music, and it's this seamless thing, and it's like it's coming right through him. It's not like any of that is planned. I don't feel like. I mean, maybe it is, but it's so it doesn't matter because it's so musical. It's so
And he's
seamless.
playful with it as well, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
So he'll play some crazy big bend with a fuzz and a rotary speaker that's going mad, and then literally last quarter of the bar before the singing comes in, he'll do some crazy run,
Yeah.
which is not even supposed to be there, but it kind of is, right?
And you laugh.
Yeah, and you're like, oh no!
Right? It's just like it's funny and you laugh out loud without even knowing. Like you have an emotional response that's it's
God,
so
imagine
cool.
that, an emotional response to music. Oh,
Glenn
God.
Fricker's
Good point to bring you in, Glenn.
How many
Glenn's
people,
joined us.
How many people, speaking of emotional response to music, how about physical response to music? How many people here get their hair standing on end for certain passages, that kind of thing?
Yeah. I was going to do a video about that, but just like the
Goosebumps.
The goosebumps.
Yeah, what's it called?
Songs that give you
Frisson is like I think the medical term. Frisson.
What was the first song you ever remember getting that?
Rage Against the Machine's "Ashes in the Fall," which is the 11th track from their third album.
Wow.
It's still there's still like three tracks that still do that for me. There's that. There is Jacqueline Dupre, who's a cellist playing Elgar's cello concerto, and then there is Nina Simone, jazz singer, singing "Feelings." Three very different styles. Rage Against the Machine.
That's awesome.
So, what was the last one?
Nina Simone singing "Feelings" at the Montreux Jazz Festival. Cool. So
Feelings, whoa, 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 feelings, that song?
yeah, but the way that
The Morris Albert song?
yeah, the way that she does it though, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is it better than the Offspring version?
Only slightly. I'm a fan of the Offspring.
Different. There's no words. It's just
Exactly.
different.
Exactly.
What was yours, Glenn?
It was Judas Priest's Electric Eye.
No way.
That's what turned me on to music. Was
That's
that
great,
song.
man. That record is-
the opening of that, the Hellion, just that beautiful swirling chord.
What about "Screaming for Vengeance" when the song breaks and Alfred goes?
No. Actually,
duet
I remember
for me.
that scaring the hell out of me as a little kid, thinking, "What the hell is this?" And then I put it on the flip side, put that on. It's like that was the first time I ever had my hair stand onto a piece of music. I was just hooked immediately.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to do that.
How old were you?
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, okay.
I think mine was Carmina Burana. You know, I'm literally not kidding.
No, that's awesome.
The opening.
Really strong piece of music.
Because I sang it in I was in a children's choir part of a bigger thing, and I remember
Oh, you sang in it.
I sang in it. Yeah, it was the opening of the
Carmina.
West Front at Salisbury Cathedral when they'd redone it, and it was all on TV and stuff. And I was just like a little kid. I was 10. And it was just this wall, and I was in it. I was in the wall.
I think that's the
I was-
most epic piece of music ever.
It is,
That's-
really
wow.
is.
It
It
is.
really is.
It's
But
really
no one
good
really
lava.
knows it past the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And yet it goes on for like an hour.
Yeah, nobody knows.
My cousin is an opera soprano, and she did that in Windsor as the solo, and
Wow.
it was just an intense piece of music.
Wow.
So, very cool. How about you, Pete? What was it for you?
Oh, a song for me?
Yeah,
it was. I was
first
trying to
response.
think, and for me, it was probably like I was a really big Who fan. That was my first learned Who songs on guitar and stuff. So it was probably like Daltrey's "Scream" on "Won't Get Fooled Again" or something.
Sure.
At 9 or 10 years old, I was just like, this music's amazing. I don't know what it is, but I just wanted to do that. Or, but I also. I went through a period of like Canadian singer-songwriters of having like a real sort of like.
Oh, you can sit. Yeah.
Glenn's gonna move because I think the 360 is hard to. So I went through a period of like discovery of like folks like Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and stuff because I was like I just doing rock guitar and I loved everything from the Who to Van Halen and metal and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden I found myself like listening to like I said, like Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and stuff, and it was like Neil Young's Harvest Moon album, for instance, and I would put that on, and it would just transport me to another place. And I realized at one point, like, oh, these are all Canadians, and I'm Canadian. I didn't know if it was like a thing, but
Yeah, you feel it.
yeah, and so, you know, I don't know, it can be anything from that, like Neil Young, to like metal, like I say, like Halford, and like, you know, it was, you know, anything that makes you, I love that, man, when I hear especially a song now that does that, and it's great to feel, it's just great, the older you get to feel, you know.
Do you get the feeling when you're performing though?
When I'm performing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sometimes, sure.
Yeah.
Times 20.
You live for that.
Exactly right. It's
Yeah.
like
That high.
when you meet that high performing, having felt it when you were younger, listening to music, that's when you know you're doing
That's
a good job.
that's what
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
pulls you in, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it's
the
like.
drug.
I remember being 10, thinking I'm going to be a guitar player because that's I remember having those emotional responses
Yeah.
at that sort of age. But I took Mick to a Stephen Wilson concert years ago,
I love
and
Yeah.
there's a song called
Drive home.
No,
Oh no.
not
it. Is it from this?
it's from
Yeah.
with the
It's the
lady
one.
singer.
Yeah, where the I forget her name. Is it Nadia or Nadia or something?
Yeah.
The girl singer comes on,
Yeah.
and it's
Is it from the Raven?
Routine. It's
Yeah,
called Routine.
Routine.
Yeah,
Routine.
Routine.
Yeah.
we got there at the end.
So, and you know, anyone's been to a Stephen Wilson gig, it's a whole, it's an immersive experience. And first gig I've been to with Nick, because I know Stephen, I was reading and said, you know, we'll go there and I'm listening to this music and I could feel the tears coming, and I thought, oh man, Mick's gonna think I'm weird. I was getting a bit self-conscious,
I see where this is going.
and then they just, because the tune is just so achingly beautiful, and I'd gone,
Yeah.
and then I thought, oh man, I turned around and Mick was exactly the same.
Oh, that's when you knew it was
The
so
thing
Power
is,
of
there's-
music.
there's
Something.
context there. There's context there because that's Dan's thing. That kind of, it's not my thing at all. It just really isn't not my thing. It's not.
Progressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too. I can't understand a lot of it. So, but it had that emotional response nonetheless.
Yeah, but
We'll do it all the time in the studio. Like
Oh, yeah.
Joey's there. We had a guy called John Smith in a couple of weeks ago.
Moved us to tears.
And they sit there playing, and I've got the headphones on because I'm trying to sort of mix him a little bit while he's playing. And I've got tears streaming down my face listening to this guy sing.
Yeah.
And so it still happens that way. And
It is fun that you say that because I used to listen to prog rock a lot, including Stephen Wilson and Porcupine Tree, but now I'm totally off. But Stephen Wilson and Porcupine Tree is the only thing I still really love. And I think
Yeah.
they used the progressive thing like just for the song and not for like being progressive.
That's a great
100%,
point.
yes.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's a great point.
100, and I think that's why it worked in that
It
live
serves the
environment so much
Yeah.
because it wasn't just an audio experience; it was an audio visual experience. It was a complete sensory,
Yeah.
and it was loud enough that your
saw
body
it,
was
yeah.
moving. And
I saw him twice too. It's amazing.
Somebody here is mentioning Derek Trucks, and I can't think of a better example of
Yeah,
somebody
of
that
course.
when I see him play
Yeah.
as a guitarist, it's just like so moving every time.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my god, the way he emotes. It's interesting. It's I had a couple other
we didn't hear yours, Paul. I don't think.
questions.
My goose. Oh well.
Oh yeah, sorry. Paul.
I really don't remember my first one, but I had a recent one. Well, the Bros Landers, Let It Lie is just the one.
Oh no, and that
Goosebumps,
song,
yeah.
that song,
Oh, the song itself is just
and the whole album.
The- but
obviously,
the whole
but
album.
song is so
yeah, it's moving. It's great.
harrowing.
You guys, somebody's asking, just they're asking what a favorite signature guitar other than your own is for everyone. But we could just turn that into that's Angus. We could just turn that.
Yeah,
What's
my
everybody's
signature
favorite
guitar.
instrument that they play? Like, let's start with Adam.
Well, I mean,
Your
I
bass player.
have a Mexican Fender P bass is my go-to always.
That's awesome.
And it's you find the instrument you connect with, and I chose that one, or it chose me at one point, and I just haven't let go of it. I probably won't ever.
That's cool.
But I'm not like a I'm just gonna take whatever and make it work kind of person. It's just that this was the instrument that I really liked. So
It feels like home.
it does.
That's
Yeah.
cool. What about you, Mary? What's your favorite instrument to play? If you had to pick
I
one.
love my GB Rock by Vigier, but I just got a Martin OM 28E, which I just keep writing on.
And the Vigier guitar, that's French guitar that maybe some
Yeah.
folks in the States won't know, but is that an acoustic or an electric?
Electric.
It's an electric, cool.
Electric, yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Glenn?
I'm really going to show my age now. Is my 29 fret Washburn from 1989.
Oh, I remember those.
Awesome.
Is it the white crackle finish?
Yes, it is. It's
Wow.
original. Yes,
I remember
I bought that when I was 18. I worked midnight shift in high school. I'd go from 11 at night to 6:30 in the morning, and then go to school, and then go home, crash out for a few hours, and do it all again. This is all so I can afford that guitar.
Yeah.
I've still got it. It still plays brilliant, and it's nowhere near as white as it used to be. It's really yellow now. It's really showing its age, but oh, it's so cool. And nobody gets to play it but me.
It means more because of the amount of work you had to put into.
Oh yeah, exactly. And the guitar still plays beautifully.
Always the
So.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a 36.
Yes, they did, but I wanted 2 pickups. So.
Right.
So
You guys know exactly the guitar I'm talking about.
yeah, I do.
I remember them with the
Yeah,
slanted
yeah.
fingerboard that went all the way
Yeah,
up.
Yeah, they're
it's
pretty
crazy.
rare.
It's mine is my blue strap, which is basically any strap that is dead on vintage spec, as long as it's got the tone control wired to the bridge pickup.
Okay.
I'm happy with that. But my actual favourite guitar is my Collins CJ35 acoustic,
Oh, cool.
and I love that guitar more than anything else in the world except my wife.
Awesome. What about you, Dan?
Well saved.
My red telly, it was a pig when I got it, and I've done over 2,000 gigs on that guitar, and it's just turned into this thing that's just, I feel so connected to it.
Yeah.
I've had some really great moments on it, so yeah, that's, if I could only ever have one guitar, it's that. I can get everything I need out of that guitar.
That's interesting.
What about you, Paul?
Well, I'm almost the same as Nick here because my favorite electric guitar is my Strat, the red Strat. It's the first relics they made, custom shops, Cunetto relics. It's just an amazing guitar. And acoustic-wise, I love my Collins OM2H probably even more than my electrical guitars because you're so connected, it's so direct. It's just the
Yeah.
guitar. It's not like the amp or the pedals.
Yeah.
It's just that one thing. So if I would ever just have one guitar, it's the Collins OM2H.
Okay, cool.
It's small bodied, it's so resonant. So every time you play it, it's like you're amazed by just what happens.
Yeah.
I wonder if this might. I'm going to preempt what you say, Pete, because I don't know what yours is, but I wonder if it might tee into what your answer is going to be. For me, the connection with a guitar usually has some sort of direct personal connection too.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I like my Collins so much is because I knew Bill pretty well.
Yeah.
And we hung out a bit, and I, in a kind of pseudo hippie way, the people that I know there and Bill, I feel in that guitar
Yeah.
and that really matters to me. And I think the sort of dilution of that is if you're a Strat player, for example,
Yeah.
I think you do feel a bit of SRV, and you do feel a bit of Jimmy, and you do feel a bit of Landau.
The history and
when you,
the gravity.
and it kind of imbues it. So
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that
It's
ties
your-
into what your favourite guitar might be, but
Yeah, no, totally. Because I was going to say, for an electric, it's if I have to pick one, it's to be my old Strat because I got it while I was on tour, and it was a moment when it was like I was making a little bit of dough, I could afford it, and I thought I'm just gonna. This is a little crazy. It's probably not the greatest investment, but I'm just gonna do it. And
is
I got
64
it.
yours?
64, yeah.
Yeah.
And that guitar has so much tone, and,
Yeah.
and somebody beat the shit out of it. You know, it's got a lot of like love put in, and sweat and tears and all that.
Yeah.
So, and that just sounds like.
It's the same for my Strat. When I got it, it needed a refresh like no other. It was like beat up. and
Right.
Things were like totally missing it. But
Yeah.
you know, I brought it to the Luthier and got back, and it's just like forever. It's been like
Yeah.
perfect. It's been really played in.
Yeah, there's just a lot of music in these guitars.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
true.
and you can't
And-
separate that, can you? Because I think a lot of people, certainly who watch our shows and other people's shows, and are struggling back at what guitar to play, they try and bring this strictly objective
analytical
viewpoint to the table and get rid of all the emotion and just objectively pick the right guitar. It's like, no, use all that emotion because
Yeah.
that's what comes out in your playing. You know, that's
Well, and sometimes the imperfect things are what makes it, you know.
Absolutely.
But I was going
Yeah.
to say also that my acoustic, which is the D28 that Chris Burnell gave me for a gift. That It's the sentimental, and that when the way you described it is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You were saying you can feel the people in it and all that. And it was like I'll always remember the day that he handed me that
No
guitar.
way.
'Cause, you know, that was just too much. I was like, dude, I couldn't even say anything. I was speechless. You know. So there's a lot of that in that instrument. So it's hard to.
Extremely precious.
Yeah, so but these are
Damn.
the things that, and that's what I connected with your story. Saving up for it, because you get older now with work and stuff, and you get an instrument, you might cost some dough and what, but there's nothing like when you had to like work for 6 months.
There's no sacrifice.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, which is. I'm looking
Yes,
at it, it's like, well,
nice.
yeah, that instrument meant a lot more because I.
That was 10 years ago too.
Yeah.
It's more yellow
Yeah,
these
yeah.
days.
Yeah, and you're at that point in your life when you're young where you don't have so many worries. And,
That's true. Yeah.
So it's
this is my life right now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Do you
I'm on
remember?
this
Do you
guitar.
remember getting your first guitar and then waking up the next morning? I still remember that. And there being, I got a Pacifica 112 when I was 12, and I'd saved up pocket money, and I'd cleaned a house over the road for weeks and weeks and weeks, and months, maybe even a
Badly,
year.
I reckon.
And badly. And I remember waking up the next morning and seeing this electric guitar in my room and being like, I've got one now. And then it happened I couldn't afford another one for 7 years, and then I got an Ibanez Art Core
Oh.
with a Venetian
Yeah.
swell
Oh, yeah.
cutaway, and I remember the body shape and the F-holes and everything being beautiful about it, apart from it ever staying in tune.
So,
Um,
which one?
Art Core. They're like a
mid-price centre blocks and jazz boxes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like
Very
a
nice
jazz box. And I remember waking up and looking at that, and then finally this new thing in my room after 7 years of seeing the other guitar and then that one, and again having saved for it.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
emotional.
And did you put it on a chair or a stand so you could see it?
Stand when I woke up.
Yeah, yeah,
I never
100%.
put things in their cases.
Oh,
Guitars are
that's
always
my main
out.
tip for everyone.
Guitars always out on a sofa.
Never put it in.
Yeah, if you want to learn to play
Yeah.
guitar, keep it
Just
out
keep
on a
the
sofa.
cable in, just one stretch and you're ready.
Yeah, the
You know
easier
what,
to
though?
play, the better, right?
We've
Yeah.
said this. It's not just that. I reckon my 335 especially hates me when I leave it in the case.
Yeah.
And it will not play in tune when I take it out of the case.
I mean, they have to warm up. I feel like they have to.
Yeah, I mean, it
warm.
could just be a physical thing, right? It could be.
Yeah, I mean,
It could.
But for me, it's a mental
It's like-
thing.
Yeah.
It's like it hates me. It's been in a case. It absolutely.
You're very in
hates
touch
me.
with your emotions.
Yeah.
I think so much of like what we do is like
100%.
our own relationships to the instrument. So if it's always out, it's always there around you. It's
Yeah.
always like, oh, I can just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's an acoustic sitting on a
I
stand right
keep
here.
wanting to grab it, and then for some reason I'm not.
Out of sight, out of mind. Yeah.
But it's a great thing having an acoustic on a stand because it comes down to the core of it's the most basic. You know, it's there. You can pick it up. You make music instantly. David says, love YouTube, and all of you have offered so much. Many thanks from Australia. So that's David.
Oh, wow.
So that's very nice. That's super cool. Glenn says he's crying with emotion last night watching Joe Cocker singing with a little help from my friends with Mad Dogs and Englishmen, a little help from my friends. The raw power of the whole ensemble was overwhelming, and so missed in music now. I think there's some great music out now.
Oh,
But
it really is.
You got to hunt a little bit harder maybe or something, but it's out there, right?
Definitely.
But I appreciate that the Joe Cocker, of course. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's what it's all about.
That's the Woodstock performance, was it? Or was it one after that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Actually,
I think
that's a
he
good
did.
question. That's a good question.
A couple
And,
different times, yeah.
let's see. First time you heard Jeff Beck Freeway Jam for me, says Metalhead Hippie. I can't remember the first time I heard Jeff. It was probably because we ended as lovers or something.
Yeah,
And I
me
was
too.
like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
This song, oh man.
That was so great, right?
That theme.
So I got a great story about that song.
Come
So
on.
I got to do a tour a few years ago with a bass player named Reggie McBride who played with Stevie in the '70s. You know Reggie McBride.
Yeah, yeah.
And we did a tour of France for better part of I was over there for about 4 or 6 months or something like that in 2016. And Reggie was the bass player, and I just loved listening to his stories about it. He played with Rare Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like a legendary dude and great bass player. And so what's my point? Oh yeah, because we ended as lovers. So I didn't know that it was Stevie Wonder and his ex, right? And they were making that record. Like the original version of "Because We Ended as Lovers" is a vocal tune. And what's the woman's name that sang it? Somebody's got to know. Maybe somebody can Google.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Her
didn't
name
know
is.
that
It
thought it
starts
was
with an S.
Yeah.
And her and Stevie were girlfriend, boyfriend, or married. I can't remember which.
Right.
And she's an amazing singer. And they split, and he was producing the record, and that's what that song's about. And there's vocals to it, and I didn't know that. And I
I
finally,
don't know that. You've educated me. I didn't know that.
and it's gorgeous. The original version. So Jeff covered it, and I thought to myself, it's '71 when it was cut, and I thought I bet that's Reggie. And I text him, I go, did you play on the original version of Because We Ended Lover? And he hits me back, yep, that's me. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song's so good. But I had no clue that. So if anybody hasn't checked it out, check out the original version of Because We Ended Lovers, written and produced by Stevie. And I can't believe I can't remember. Her name starts with an S, and it's like Simone or something. Somebody's going to say it
Yeah,
in
hopefully
the
they
comments
will.
right now.
I'm gonna have to head off.
You got to go, Mary?
Nice to see you, Mary.
Okay.
Are you
I
going
mean,
to
I'll
see
see you around.
See you in a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll start sorting out the
I'll
gears.
see you later.
Thanks, Mary. That was
Thanks
Mary
for
Spender,
having me.
folks. And, okay. But somebody's asking for what's the best new advice you can give a guitar player? That's Cads asking a question that wants to learn killer lead solos, learn the blues first, or learn songs like by Pink Floyd and lots of people. What is he saying? Learn songs like Pink Floyd, lots of people want to learn but lack direction. So how do you become a good lead player, basically?
Play a lot of lead.
Play a lot, like learn a lot of solos and just practice?
Yeah, that's the easiest thing. The
Be
easiest route.
relentless.
Be relentless.
Be relentless.
With learning?
Yeah, absolutely. Practicing. Yeah, your whole practicing regimen, that kind of thing. Do what I never did.
Maybe he's saying that folks lack direction. How do you get it?
That's the big thing, of course, is like I always feel like repertoire, like learning a lot of solos, like
Yeah.
note for note, just making sure that you do that. But then the question is like, what are the best solos to learn? Like, what is the repertoire? And, that comes down, I guess, to personal preference. Like, what are you checking out?
Yeah.
I feel like it's easier to find songs that you like than worrying about what like the best songs to learn are.
Yeah.
Well,
What about practice and how you focus? Like, is it good to get rid of the phone? Good to turn off the computer? Or just like, how do you focus in this day and age when there's so much distraction?
That's a great question. I mean, a lot of it, habits are hard to break. And good habits are also hard to break. So if you make a habit of not having the phone and not having the computer around, and making a habit of doing a 15-minute session where you're just trying to like nail a particular lick or something like that, make a habit of it. That's the thing I always think about is developing that good habit of focused practice.
I think if it feels like homework,
Yeah,
then you don't want to do it, right? So you have to have some element of
that's true. Yeah.
work and some element of reward
Like getting lost in it?
and fun. Yeah. So be disciplined for 10 minutes and go, right, I only need to be disciplined for 10 minutes, or maybe 20, and then maybe 30. But then I can have some fun and blow around after that. And then you've got technique and you've got melody.
Yeah.
And those, if you're just learning vibrato, that gets really boring after about 5 minutes. So learn it in the context of one lick.
The context I think is very important because then you can get lost in it.
Yeah.
And the more that you do it, the more that you realize, like, oh, the reward for good practice is I get to play my instrument really well.
Yeah.
And that for me always ended up being like the most powerful
That's the
motivator.
best
It's
thing,
like if I practiced, all of a sudden I'm so much better.
It's a great motivator.
I want to be better. Yeah.
It is tough if you stick 60 hours into learning Cliffs of Dover. By the end of doing that, the only thing you can play is Cliffs of Dover,
Yeah.
which is great. We'd
But-
all love to be able to play Cliffs of Dover.
But because you did that, now other things are going to be easier to learn.
Yes, but I think if
Yeah.
you sit there slavishly learn the tab, which
That's
is
true.
great. I mean, it's an achievement. I can't do it. It's amazing.
You can.
But-
Let's.
yeah.
Let's do it.
You need to teach me. But I
will.
also think for anyone who sits in front of the TV watching the TV, there'll be a theme tune. There'll be a commercial.
Sure, yeah.
There'll be something that's got a tune in it. If you can start picking out those tunes on the guitar by ear,
Okay. Yeah.
that I think leads into great lead playing because it's about melody and it's about knowing where the notes are. And then you can unlearn all of that when you learn all your chords and your theory and your triads and your inversions.
It's one of the first things I remember from practicing is like,
of course, for
Groomed Noodler by Metallica. This is and I just couldn't play it. I was like, ah. So I just sat down for like 10 hours a day, trying to get this down.
Cool.
And from that day, I use this a lot in my lessons. I'm like, okay, and also play with the pinky because it's a good exercise. Just that. whole
That's
time.
great. Simple. I
Yeah.
mean, it's focused, little
It's
practice.
very
on-
simple, but it teaches you a lot of things.
I mean, like but it's not simple to play necessarily. Like
No.
like you say, you had to work hard on it for a.
Yeah, well, I think it was 12 or 13 years old, but
Yeah, but that's good because you're using all your fingers and you're syncing your
Yeah.
two hands together. Getting-
yeah, and it's down up, and it's in it's not in 4, it's in 3. You have to get it 1 2 3 1 2 3.
Plus, your time while you're doing it is so in the feel that you're playing it with has this
Yeah,
little
bounces, doesn't it?
Yeah,
bounce
yeah,
to
yeah.
it. That's
Well, I
really
don't know
cool.
if it bounces on the album. I think it's just I think it's a little bit muted, but I think it's
Kirk's
great.
not known for his bouncing, is he? Really?
I remember going through something very similar to that in my teenage years with that exact same lick.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, exactly. Trying to get that. A big one for me was Iron Maiden's "Wasted Years." That's where I got my alternate picking done. Yeah, that kind of thing. It took me forever to get that
Oh,
right.
yeah.
But I developed a really, really strong alternate picking because of that. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, Iron Maiden. There's a song. What's it called?
Trooper.
Dun,
Yeah.
Oh, that drove me nuts.
So Dan's on this learning and practice thing at the moment.
Yes, I'm actually going to be filming with Pete.
Oh, yeah.
What's your advice for learning great leads then? Dan's like,
It's
There's no magic.
No,
There's no
no.
one sentence over
because
it.
to be able to play great leads, you need to have a good time. You need to have harmony, melodic convention. You need to understand your chords. There's a saying.
Just that.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's
it's
so huge.
it's
a
so
vast topic.
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
Look, learn your
Oh man.
do you learn your solos. If you hear a great solo,
it's
you
going
learn
to be a
it.
thumbnail
Great.
online for one of my videos.
But it's a journey. It's an epic. It's a life task.
I mean, it's easier when you're younger. Like I found when I had time when I was
Yeah,
a
when
kid,
you- yeah,
I could sit there and get
absolutely.
lost in 2 bars of music.
Yeah.
And be like, I'm gonna, like your phrase that you were just playing, right?
Yeah,
I'd work
yeah,
one
yeah.
phrase for like
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
finally get it. But when you got it, and when
Yeah.
you could play along with the record, and you could hear that it was locked. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and then you
yeah.
go on to the next one, go on,
Yeah.
and that patience.
And-
Now it's easier now with phrase trainers because you can lock in like just
Oh,
slow
and
it
it's-
down.
yeah, that's
So
easy, yeah.
I use those a lot.
But the ability to slow something down, that I feel like has changed the game a lot for a lot of people because
Yeah.
sometimes something's going by really quickly and you're like, what was that?
Yeah.
They always keep going back. But
I remember maybe you use like cassettes, but I use CDs, and I think CDs are even harder than cassettes.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
you have to
Skipping.
press, and then it's like 30 seconds back, or not, or it goes back to the beginning of the
Yeah.
song. It's like, oh god.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult.
But there's a lot in that. There's a sitting down and learning tunes and listening to the track without. So I've got an issue with tab.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I understand chord theory and understand music. I've never used tab in my life.
Oh really?
So maybe I should look at it. But I think if you want to learn a solo, before you go straight to the tab and learn where your fingers go, sit down and listen to it.
Yeah.
And see if you can decipher the intervals and
The phrasing.
Oh,
Well,
it's all that
the
stuff.
magic of the
So
band.
Yeah.
it's like that's the music.
Exactly.
That's
That's
the
the whole
music.
point,
You're not
right?
listening to the music.
Yeah, but maybe start with the chorus. I mean,
Yeah, of
because
course. Yeah,
what
yeah,
you
yeah.
said, I mean, a lead is always depending on the chorus underneath. So you can't really decide what you're playing if you don't know the chorus.
Yeah.
And that's
You
You know,
understand
and
the context.
John Mayer recently in a video was talking about, I can't remember what song he based on, but he said, if you want to learn this song by me, and he played it, maybe it was Gravity or something, but he played it and the lick, and he goes, most people just learn that. Okay, they learn that, but he goes, that's all you're taking away from me. He goes, you need to, and I think what he was trying to say was, you need to learn what I'm doing, like where this comes from. So like, if you're playing this part, know what key it's in, like learn that
oh yeah, I
scale all
saw
over
that.
the next.
I saw that video. It's like
Yeah, it's
I
good.
think that's Gravity. Like
That's noisy from the light, but go down to go to like maybe. Sorry.
yeah, that's okay. It's that thing, and then he says like, yeah, it's G. It's like, so this is the root. So if you bend it up a whole tone from the second, it's major. Yeah, now you can go back to this position. You can play. I don't know. So
Yeah.
indeed,
Or like up an octave. Or
yeah,
here,
yeah.
You know, like
I mean, if you see the positions and if you know the notes you're playing, the roots, the second, the third, and you start at 6, you can play the 5th.
It's fine though, and don't be disheartened if that sounds, because a lot of
Oh,
rock
it will
and
sound-
roll-based guitar players,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
like
well,
people who
yeah.
start off learning first position E, you know, and then bar chord, and you learn that all the way up, and then
yeah.
we all play by shape, or at least a lot of rock and roll-based guitar players
Yeah.
play by shape. I'm 35 years into this, and I only just figured it out last week because Joey Landreth sat down and told me about inversions. And about that, this very simple thing that literally the penny only dropped last week.
Right. Three note shapes all the way up in each position.
Yeah,
but the
inversion.
thing I haven't
Inversions
worked out
all the way.
about it is it's 1, 3, 5.
Yeah.
So, thinking, ring on.
Yeah, sorry, hang on. 5, 1, 3.
No.
No. Sorry, 3, 5, 1, 5, 1, 3.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and so you can hear how tentative I am with it already. Those have been chords I've been playing for 20 years, not even thinking about it.
Yeah, the
Right.
way I think about that is that's pretty fun. It's like the second or the first inversion you played, starting on the third.
Yeah.
It's just the C shape of G. Basically, if you put your pinky on the.
Yep.
So this starts to get into the cage thing a little
Yeah,
bit. Right?
so,
It's just-
but
yeah.
then literally, I did a jam session that weekend, and there was a bunch of people that were playing reggae, right?
Yeah.
And I don't play reggae, I don't know how to play reggae, but you know,
Yeah.
which would be the only thing that I would ever play, because I would think it's 1, 4, 5, easy. But now let's go.
Right.
And I've gone, okay, I can play this more economically
That's a very good exercise.
and get a decent.
Playing in the same position.
In the same
all
position.
chords in the same position.
But-
Just-
Yeah.
So sit there slavishly going through 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 1,
Yeah.
5, 1,
Yeah.
3. I'm
Yeah.
really struggling. And this is just like a major tryout, right? We're not even into anything particularly
Minor.
interesting.
It's kind of the beginning of the Ted Green thing, is he taught that on every group of 3 strings to do that up
Yeah.
every the sort of
Yeah.
3 note inversions of like up
And
every
there are
group.
3 separate shapes.
Three separate shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For each one. Of
For
those
every
three
chord.
shapes. Yeah.
And then so, but the heart I think you can take from that, if you find that confusing like I do, is that you don't need to know it all straight off the bat. You can actually start
Yeah.
filling in the gaps if you're learning.
Right.
And then light bulbs start going on, and
Yeah.
you're sort of regressively filling in gaps of things you didn't
Yeah,
understand.
and also the thing, one person might need that one thing to
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
man, and the
Yeah.
other person I don't need that, or I don't use that at all,
Yeah.
but I am an amazing player, so I don't need it. So
Yeah.
there's not one thing that everyone needs to know.
And it all happens at different pace. So the other thing is, apparently at 3 p.m. this afternoon, we're playing all along the Watchtower. I've never played all along the Watchtower, so I went down there, found the strap, put the thing in. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
and I can hear that. I don't know what the notes are, and I don't know how it relates to the scale, but I can hear it and I can play it. Major.
Yeah.
And so that's the result of sitting there working out TV themes on the telly,
Yeah,
knowing
it is.
because you know the timbre of the note and you know where it is on the neck.
And in the end, that's most
So,
important.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Can you play guitar without playing guitar? Can you hear?
Yeah.
Hear just yeah.
If I'm working stuff, I was sat on the plane
You
again
just-
trying to work out all along the Watchtower.
It's a
going,
great practice
It's
thing.
minor,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
major, it's major, it's major,
So-
it's minor, it's major.
And then the question is like, all right, if you can play guitar without playing guitar, why have the guitar at all? If you can just sit there and play in your head.
Well, this is the thing. This is how somebody like Landau plays to me.
Yeah.
Is that he's singing it. He
Yeah.
must be. He's
Yeah.
hearing it in his head, and then the guitar is just the vehicle.
Yeah.
As opposed to getting locked into a shape, right? And a pattern, and I'm going to play this lick now, right?
Yeah, I mean, because then if you're like really pre-hearing everything that you're playing, then it's like it's not your fingers who's like you're not just moving your fingers. You're like, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then
I need to work on that.
I think most people have
Yeah.
moments of that, don't they?
yeah.
So for most of the gig, you're going, I can't remember what the next chord is, and then for 8 bars in the gig, you are totally free.
Yeah.
And no matter what the tempo of the tune, no matter what the chords, no matter anything else, you are free, and you feel like you've got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas something else is quite simple and you're trying to think about it and get your head around it, it then becomes difficult.
Do you think that like the guitars maybe like when I think of horn players improvising, do you think technically it's an easier instrument to get that going on, like that flow of coming from your mind and playing? Is the guitar and the way it's structured with the strings all and the tuning and the fifths and stuff, is it more difficult?
I don't know. I mean, I think
Than a
with,
horn.
with horns, like,
It's linear.
well, it's linear, yeah, and it's also it's closer to the human voice. So like, there's a more like, I feel like I've always felt like
Right.
there's a deeper connection to that, like more.
'Cause you're breathing. And,
Yeah, you're breathing,
Yeah.
and the phrases have to breathe
Yeah.
and all that. There's a great quote, jazz trumpeter Dizzy Gillespie, like somebody was asking like how he plays his lines with such conviction, and he's like, well, I hear, like, you might think that I'm hearing them like I think in my head they're just like ba-doo 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 bap, but really in my head it's ba-doo 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 bap. So he's like really loudly in his head.
Wow.
Like very loudly and vividly.
That's
That-
cool.
And that's the idea. It's like you want to turn up the volume in your head of what you're going to play
That's
as loud as you can,
Yeah, right.
and then it comes out with so much more conviction.
Oh, dude, that's great. That's
That's
golden.
really
And
interesting.
so it's like, oh, okay, I got to start doing that. And you know, like when you like really
Yeah.
loudly pre-hear things, it's like, yeah.
Wow.
So I just always thought about that, like when playing,
That's cool.
How did you wind up a bass player?
because bass is the best instrument.
You control the band.
I control everything.
Oh, I agree.
I
think bass
control
is-
everything.
Bass is an amazing instrument. It's the foundation for everything.
If you're
I love
type A,
bass.
the bass rules. Not saying.
It's so nice to meet somebody who can play it.
Oh man, coming from Glenn Fricker,
Yeah,
that is
do it
you just
worse.
got the biggest compliment.
No, seriously, it's like, no, I wish more guys could, it's like, I've been getting spoiled recently, I mean, like, got to listen out and play the other day. I got to record Anthony Crawford a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Anthony's insane. It's like, but this is the thing, for 20 years I got to record Sid Vicious wannabes.
Can I tell my bass joke?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, here's my bass joke. So, the band's doing their big showcase, right, for the record label, and the guitar player's up there on stage, and all the guys in suits are watching. The guitar player's up on stage, he's rocking out, and he's thinking to himself, "I'm gonna get a big house in the hills, and I'm gonna get a sports car, and lots of girls. It's gonna be amazing." He's rocking out, he's tapping. The singer's out there, "Wah!" And he's like, "Man, I'm gonna have so much money. This is gonna be amazing. I'm gonna get a big house in the hills. It's gonna be incredible." And the bass player's over there, and he's like, 3 3 3 3 3 5 5 5 5 5 5 5 3 3. That's my bass joke. Sorry.
I've heard variations of it.
We need to balance it out, don't we? We need to balance it out. What do you throw to a drumming guitar player?
To a drowning guitar player?
Yeah.
What?
His amp.
What do you throw to a drowning bass player? An anvil.
Any other banjo jokes?
What's that?
Hear about the banjo player who left his banjo in the car and it got broken into? When he got back, there were 2.
Accordion, too.
Oh, okay, yeah. A substitute for any.
I think Dan and I are shooting a video today on a show. I'm not going to give it away.
No.
Yeah, we'll leave it but everybody can watch it when you see it pop up. We've got a video idea today it's not accordions, but it's close.
Slightly more highbrow one. What's the difference between a drummer and a chiropodist?
What?
And a
What?
A chiropodist.
I don't know what that
What
is.
is that?
You'll find out in a minute. A chiropodist bucks up the feet. Very good. Bucks up the feet.
Bucks up the. Oh,
A chiropodist is a foot.
Oh,
I get it.
I get it.
Oh, it's like tumbleweed.
We're too dumb for English
How
jokes.
can you tell when it's a singer at the door?
But you don't know when to come in.
And they can't find the key either. Okay. Yeah. What's the difference between a moose and a symphony orchestra? Well, the orchestra, the asshole's in the front and the horns are in the back.
That's good. Okay, let's see. Joe's got a question about amp emulation and some A to D to A interfaces. You guys are the best. What are your thoughts on amp emulation and A to D to A interface? So I think he's saying like probably like UA amps, like simulations in amp simulations in a plug-in sort of format.
They are starting to get good finally.
You're digging them?
Yeah, the technology's really coming around. I mean, like, You know, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have dreamed of putting an amp sim on a record.
Right. But
These
we're not
days-
talking about pods. We're talking about plugins.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Even the
Yeah.
plugins, like some of the stuff coming out from Neural DSP is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like the Ford Nameless, it's been really good.
The fourth one, yeah.
Yeah, the Sims are starting to get very, very good.
I agree.
It's a long time coming, but it was bound to happen eventually.
Pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Did you use bass ones as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still using Guitar Rig, and it does the job, but
Do you use it
Yeah.
for
Sorry.
referencing or just reamping stuff? Like you recorded the DI signal and then
recorded DI and then blend the,
Yeah.
you know.
I just have to
That's
interject.
okay.
Fuck sakes, Adam.
I
Guitar
just-
rig, really?
For bass, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
yeah, you just need a bit of grit.
Yeah, like several
Check out
channels.
the Dark Glass Sims.
I use the Dark Glass, the like Vintage 2 Overdrive. I haven't started using the Sims yet, but
The Sims are very good
Yeah.
too, but I've got all the Dark Glass shit. They're
I mean,
I'm a
it's
really big
it's
fan.
insane. It's
Yeah, they're
absurd for
great.
bass.
But the thing with plugins, if you play, it's still the latencies.
The latency is like, but they're
There's always
Thunderbolt interfaces.
yeah USB 3.
Yeah, I mean, using a UA,
Yeah.
1 point something milliseconds, I think.
Yeah, when it's in the
Yeah, in optimal setting, like if you
In-
use
in
like
unison.
56 bit rate or what is the sample rate? The lowest.
like 64 or
64, yeah.
buffer setting,
buffer
yeah.
size, yeah.
Buffer size, yeah, sure.
But in the
That's
UA, in the Unison, I don't think
Is it,
you don't have that. Like, there's no so you're not hosting it in the DAW. You're hosting it
Oh
actually
yeah,
in
it's
UA.
the ESP.
In the
It's
Apollo,
yeah, and it's like sub 2 milliseconds.
Yeah, but
It's-
I don't
so
have that.
they're I love the B15 and oh man,
Yeah,
they're so
yeah.
good in the UA stuff. But so what would you use if you use it?
I don't have a MacBook.
Okay,
I run Windows proudly.
the PC guy.
PC guy.
Good, we're going to be joining you.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Smart guys.
Going to be joining you.
And you
Yeah.
can have the rest of your money and buy a nice vintage Stratocaster.
You see
Well,
that?
since they launched the Mac Pro and it's
The new
like
one?
spec one out,
Oh.
17 grand,
It's in.
2 screens.
I
So-
really want to pay $900 for a monitor stand.
Oh, $9.99.
So they
Yeah, for the
I
stand.
would
Yeah.
consider myself a professional user,
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
and they've priced out professional users, which to me
What,
is
what about just IMAX and stuff though? Aren't they good enough?
The iMac Pro is pretty good.
Pretty
it's
rock,
pretty good, but it's still 6 grand.
Still pricey.
Still
Yeah.
pricey.
Yeah.
I mean, you could buy a PC if you build it yourself, which is pretty easy, and have killer specs for
Yeah.
1500.
I've got somebody who's going to build us one. We're going to go through the process and see. I've used Macs professionally for all of my working life, so since 1996. And the thought, I've never ever used a PC.
So I can teach you some of that.
The thought of doing it freaks me out. But you know,
It is.
if you use the software we use is all Adobe Creative Suite, so that's all the same.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to learn Pro Tools, which is fine. Not that different from Logic. If you spend a few
Yeah, I
days with
screwed
it.
myself because I Logic and Final Cut.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I can't.
Oh,
I
you
can't
can't,
ever
yeah.
switch.
I
Yeah,
made
you get
the,
so inside the software and you know it. It's like your
we made the
workflow.
jump from Final Cut to Premiere. It was
Yeah.
2 weeks of real pain.
I just
Yeah.
dumped all the
This
Adobe
is relevant
everything.
for
I went to DaVinci Resolve and Affinity
Yeah,
Photo.
I think
It's
so. I
fantastic.
think people want to know. Like,
So
if you-
yeah, I run my PC. If I run a rig or a thing on my laptop, I'm using my interface from RME, German German audio.
Use the RME stuff, it's magnificent.
It's the best.
I have to hit the road.
Yeah,
It's
cheers.
been
See you
a
later.
pleasure. You
Thanks,
guys have
man.
a wonderful, wonderful day.
We'll see you in a bit.
You know what I'd like to see, Peter, in this whole question about digital and analog gear is just the debate move, because I think the question in most people's minds is what's better, and is the digital stuff as good as the analog stuff? And
Yeah.
it's a valid question, but anyone I see using either of those technologies professionally, it's a tool, and there is
Yeah.
there is an appropriate
That's it.
time.
If you want to buy something digital, just buy it.
Yeah,
It
and
doesn't
if,
really
if
matter.
it works for you, if it works in your workflow, and it's the right
Yeah.
thing to be using in that environment, that's it's more about environment than what's ultimately better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we met a new friend just recently who showed us his studio, and he's basically all analog everything. So he's got this crazy, more Neve 1073s than I've ever seen.
Yeah.
a whole API
Yeah.
desk, plus all the Manly Massive passives and all the proper old distressors, and real old analog gear, all those things that I've only ever seen as plugins in the US.
Yeah,
software.
yeah,
Like, you see them in real life, and you're like, oh, that's what a Lexicon 480 looks like. No way.
Right.
And he played us some stuff, Dan and I both sat there again, tears in our eyes, saying,
Yeah.
"We can hear this.
Yeah.
I think I can hear it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I can hear it."
Hear the
So, and the weirdest thing was, so this guy does library music essentially, and at the moment he has 500 tracks being used in everything from
Television.
ice road truckers to just a whole bunch of stuff.
Real Housewives of Dallas,
Well, yeah.
all that stuff, you know.
That's sweet.
And he says they always choose my track, and they can't tell me why.
Well,
But there's something when they're going through the tunes, they're trying to work out which ones. He says
Wait,
they
is he writing his music in 432 hertz?
I think that's it.
could be.
no, it's very,
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
interesting.
interesting. It's,
Yeah,
it's
it
just,
is.
Yeah, there's something to
Yeah.
all this stuff.
There
There's
is.
something to
There
vintage
absolutely
guitars,
is.
and there's something to, I mean, it's like, I remember, the fun thing about recording analog that I remember, because that's how I started, I mean, it was like you had to go in the studio and spend some money and stuff. And it was like, I had friends with project studios when I first moved to LA that had like, not the best stuff, but they had like an MCI 24-track recorder or an Amperex or something, and then they'd have an Allen and Heath board, not like a
Yeah.
knee, but project studios, decent mics, 414s and stuff like that. And you can throw that stuff up and just start recording, like put it all in approximately the right position, make sure the decks aligned and everything demagged, and you do a take, and it just was like, well, that sounds good. It's cool. Like, it sounded like glue. Like, you didn't have to work that hard. Then the 90s rolled around at ADATs, and it was like, oh. I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't an art to microphone placement and stuff, but there was a glue to the music.
Yeah.
Then we had to learn when the digital came around, like, because all of a sudden the music sounded all distant. You weren't getting the best. Like, it does this sexy thing to the audio that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then we had to learn how to kind of recreate that and
Right,
make it
yeah.
different. But having said all that, it's whatever gets the job. Like, if you get a good song recorded, and it's like, I'm most stoked out of anything I've seen at this thing about that Spire Studio thing.
Yes.
That
Oh,
isotope
mate.
thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
recorded the song last night on it.
It's amazing.
By
It's
Isotope, right?
unreal.
Yeah, it's a
isotope,
little.
yeah.
It's a you can record. It's an 8-track recorder
Yeah.
that's like looks like a little soup can,
Yeah.
and you just keep layering parts.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like a field record, but you can use it as a field recorder,
Exactly.
but then like records to your phone,
Yeah.
and then it's like
Exports out of your phone. And
It's pretty sweet.
It's pretty
Yeah,
sweet. I mean, it's so useful.
I'm a fan of it.
That's
Yeah.
it, isn't it? You were saying earlier about having the guitar ready so you can just play.
Yeah.
It's about having tech that you can use quickly without too many barriers.
And your creativity,
Yeah.
like less from A to B. whatever gets the job done.
I'm
That's-
sure we've all had that experience where you get the latest thing that's got 58,000 sounds in it, and you go, "Oh, I've got this," and then 5 minutes in, you still haven't chosen the sound.
That's why we made this thing. Not to pivot, but it is. That's why because I like
It's a great
turning a
pivot.
couple knobs and turning it on, and then
Yeah.
and it just friggin' works.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, it's what Adam and I talked about earlier. It's like having a dedicated thing for one thing. That's
Yeah.
like the best. Like
yeah.
it's a delay thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It does the delay. And
Delay
you have
thing, yeah.
3 knobs, and if you turn this one and that one, you're done because it doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
This is the sound. It's it helps getting you to the point where you need to be. But I need a delay. Okay, cool.
That's like Tim Pierce's studio. He's the master. Like when he sits in everybody's seen his videos. He's got his little control, cockpit sitting there, and he's got his amp switcher, and all the heads are on. And then you need some delay. He just pulls it up on the mixer. You need some verb. He pulls it up on the mixer, and then he's instantly sending that stuff into Pro Tools, and he can just work his. Like it looks complicated to me, but he's like any of us, we got our little rigs.
Yeah.
He's got it so dialed that he can sit down and within 30 seconds he can be tracking. What do you want? The Vox with the some delay. Oh, the compressor. Now the volume pedal. Here's the part.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
first takes it, and then it's done. And you didn't even know how the hell did you just do that in like 30 seconds? And that's why he's Tim Pierce.
Yeah.
But that whatever your thing is, doesn't matter if it's digital or analog or whatever. Just if it gets the job done, you're jazzed on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's amazing, man. The lights are on and everyone's home with that guy.
Yeah.
He
Full
really,
force.
he
Imagine
really is. No, it's wonderful.
Yeah, he's amazing. I wonder. We're getting up to about an hour and 45 now. I guess I'm going to go for a few more minutes, no matter what.
I just want to
Probably
sit here all day. I'm enjoying this.
It's pretty chill, right?
It's been shooting video.
Is there someone that can bring me some food, maybe?
I know, right?
Yeah,
I know, right?
Actually, that's a good point. We
Wiener Schnitzel.
eat so much in this place that
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
I'm not thinking that.
I didn't eat breakfast this morning. I was still done from dinner.
Oh. Yeah.
Who's running the camera? Says Brian. No, Brian, actually, okay, so here's the deal. If anybody's just chiming in now, or tuning in, not chiming in, we're chiming in. Tuning into the stream, it's in 360. So you can actually move the camera around by grabbing if you're watching on a computer, you grab the screen and you can move it. So just move your mouse onto the screen, you can go around in a circle. If you're on a phone or an iPad or something, you can actually just move it and you'll go around in a circle. You'll know when you try it. I can't explain it.
And is it a single audio feed?
I think it's that mic
Yeah.
right there, probably an Omni, and we're just all getting picked up. And I hope it.
You have to remember, I'm a simple human.
I have no idea.
It looks cool. I don't know. Is it the center? Yeah, it is.
This is a good question. Fred Buzz is in Rotterdam, where you were earlier. And
Hey, my man. Oh, I live there.
You live there?
I live in Rotterdam.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Fred Buzz.
So do you know Fred Buzz?
Well, I know Fred Buzz, but
Not this particular Fred Buzz.
I doubt that's his real name, but I may know him.
He wants to know about tips on entry-level audio interfaces. What you guys recommend for like
Focusrite.
Focusrite
Is very decent for their price.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Scarlet for years.
Yeah.
Focusrite Scarlet.
I still use one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah, I like them too.
Steinberg UR22 is also really good. That's actually
Steinberg. Cool.
It's a Cubase company, right?
It's one of those depressing things, isn't it? When you get this thing, it's a piece of technology, and you think, oh, that's cool, that really works.
Yeah.
And then you hear a UA Apollo, and you're like, oh no.
I switched to UA years ago. And it was, I'm an Apogee fan too. But I know those folks.
So
really
how
well,
does
so I love both. But
sorry?
yeah,
How does UA compare to RME?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
I couldn't
I love
answer.
RME.
honestly, with UA for me, it was they're rock solid. So like they
Yeah.
never like I would. But and I think it was a FireWire thing because I used to use a FireWire audio interface
Yeah.
for another company. But it just kind of. I'd have problems where I'd have to, start it again and stuff to get the buffer to reconnect. And with UA, it just is rock solid. And then beyond that, it's the plugins, which is like the plugins. I said to the guy that's here from UA the other day, I said, you guys did the impossible because everybody now has moved to subscription-based kind of plug-in things, and UA is like you got to buy those plugins and they're expensive, but they sound and you need the hardware. It's like basically a big dongle, but it's so good.
Yeah.
It sounds.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way you could have made this work if they just sounded pretty good. Or it had to be like, oh my god, like that new Capitol Chambers reverb. It's way too. I mean, it's just like what the hell? If you haven't heard it, the best reverbs I've ever heard.
But the technology is advancing all the time, so like any modern mid-priced interface is going to be pretty good.
I agree. Yeah, I like PreSonus too for less
Yeah.
expensive. I started with one of those and it was solid. It sounded good.
Now,
Sounding good.
what I'm going to say now is based entirely on conjecture, but I think that anything that can take large current with a proper IEC mains connection, to me, always seems to have more headroom than something that runs off a 9 volt to watt.
That's interesting.
I think I can hear that,
That's interesting.
especially recording loud guitar amps, where you're dealing with high SPL, huge dynamic range.
Maybe the preamps
I'm
do
pretty
better. Or
certain I
something.
can hear that.
It's easier to
Never
design
tried.
large headroom audio than AC.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it could be complete conjecture, but I think I can hear it. And that's true. If you use like a battery powered field recorder,
Yeah.
we had a situation where
Makes sense.
the meters weren't showing any kind of clip whatsoever, but there was distortion in the unit nonetheless. And someone said to me, "It's power supply. It needs."
Or it was
more
the
headroom."
latency of the meter, like the peak was so short, the transient was so
Oh no,
short.
we were like 9 dB under. We were miles under.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian is asking who's on the right. That's Mr. Adam Neely. He's a bass player extraordinaire and also has an unbelievable YouTube channel chock full of super interesting.
I think when they look at the screen and they mean on the right, they mean like that guy.
They might mean you. Paul David's. So Paul David's. I should just introduce everybody because you never know. There could be folks that watch my channel. So Adam's over here and his channel is so great. He's got tons of great information. Paul's channel is unbelievable. Your videos are just outstanding. And it's how would you describe your channel? I don't even know how to. I mean, you're like a motivational
Inspiration, guitar videos
Yeah.
that either I find very fun to make or I find mildly fun to make, and I think you guys love it very much. And everything in
I
between.
do.
And that's what gets you 1.1 million subscribers, right?
Exactly. And then of course Dan and Mick from That Pedal Show, who most of my folks will know for sure, guitar players. So, but
Yeah.
I'm honored you guys sat here with me all the time.
Oh, mate,
that's
it's
nice.
nice. It's an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Great conversation.
Yeah.
It's been
Great
really,
hang.
really fun.
Hang.
Maybe we can do it tonight again with a proper drink.
I think we should do that.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
actually originally my plan. Was
Yeah.
when I was at GitCon last year, Rick Beato.
Oh
turned-
yeah,
he
yeah,
turned-
with Phil X.
Yeah, and he just turned on the camera at the bar. I was drinking a martini, and Phil showed up or whatever, and it was like, "Hey, let's talk about underrated guitar players." And we just went on for the next hour and a half. About
I would love to meet that guy.
Yeah, it was always great.
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, Rick Beato, check out his YouTube channel. It just,
Great, right?
yeah. I think I'd
Yeah,
probably have
no.
to do some drugs before I spoke to him, so my mind was alert enough to
No.
to accept what's
No,
going in.
He's in.
Totally chill.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
like
nice.
the most down to earth guy. Like,
Some of his videos, I'm like, ow.
Well, he would ask you questions.
Yeah.
Because he said, "Hey, let's do a thing. I want to do a thing for my channel right away." At GitCon last year, will you sit down with me for an hour? And I said, "Sure." And I didn't know what we were going to do, and he just directed that show. And his questions were so great. Like, he had so much knowledge about. Because everybody thinks he's this jazz guy and he's a real scholar and he knows, but he had so much knowledge of like Soundgarden and punk rock.
Yeah,
and,
amazing.
and the tunings, like he knew tunings of songs that I was like, how do you know that? Like I had to really search on. It was just amazing. He's like an encyclopedia.
Incredible.
He's had like 3 careers, each of which are
Stuff.
extraordinary.
amazing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he was a jazz guitarist and then a rock producer, and
Yeah.
now he's a YouTuber. It's just
It
insane.
was amazing watching this video on how computers ruin music. I think.
yeah.
And he's going through and beat detectiving things and moving things around. And what I realized when I watched that video is like Rick's a really good Pro Tools guy. He's so fast on Pro Tools. He could edit. And, I'm going to move this beat. Oh, I think I like the way that sounds better. And he was just like, I'm like, I can't work a DAW that fast. It was amazing. Really fun. Let's see here. Just a bunch of nice, talented people, says Glenn. Thanks, Glenn. We appreciate that. And anybody else got any questions? We're going to wrap probably pretty soon. It's
Wrap up.
Get some
yeah.
lunch.
Yeah, it's
Some
time
wraps.
for lunch. That's right. So yeah, I think we should probably split. But this has been awesome.
Yeah,
man.
thank you, mate. Really
appreciate
Yeah,
cool.
thanks for having us. This was fun.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
hang.
Yeah.
And we're recording a video tomorrow.
Yeah, we're gonna do some. We're doing some more stuff later today, and Paul and I are doing a video, and we're gonna talk about the details of that. And Dan and I've got an exciting. It's not accordions, but it's something.
You know what we need to finish though, Pete? We need a 5-1 to finish. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Then we will feel like we're finished.
Oh,
Give us
here are the
that,
results.
please. And all right, you guys in there in the control room, you can shut us down. Thanks so much for your help.
Oh, that was
Thanks,
awesome.
Pete.
That was the
So much
funnest thing I've done all weekend.